We are live.
Woo! Yeah.
Pot of the Seven Kingdoms is back, and House of the Dragon season 3 is over.
And we can finally, after this podcast, Phil, we can rest. We can just
We can go back to our cozy little Duncan Egg story.
we can rest. We can go back to some semblance of normalcy. I can stop having my brain poisoned by this dragon show. And people see me on Monday in court, because I always have court Monday morning after the dragon show, and they're always like, so what did you think? And they know they're in for like a 35-minute explanation of
Like,
everything.
Ahem.
And I'm like, hi, I'm so glad you asked. Let's go. First of all, Tumbleton was held by the blacks. And so yeah, that's
yeah, it wasn't. So we are here to talk about
we didn't love it.
Yeah, about the season finale of season 3, which I guess the reason that we didn't like it was more so it's more of a commentary on the season than the episode, although there were definitely problems with the episode. But yeah, if you guys are finding us or settling in, we are I'm Baki Balboa.
I'm Balak. We're here. We're on the internet.
And we're here. Yeah, our podcast, Pot of the Seven Kingdoms, is mostly about Duncan Egg. And we will get back to reading those books, close reading of basically what this podcast was designed for. But we have been talking about the Dragon Show. And we have to, you know, I'm nothing if not a completionist, which is I have to talk about it because we've been talking about it.
Can
I would say, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I start by saying nice things about the episode?
Yeah, I think generally, I guess we can start with the positives. So
the positives were that my eyes liked to see it.
Yes.
And there were things like people have been making fun of Rhaenyra's armor. I actually really liked Rhaenyra's armor. I think it was 7 episodes too late. I liked her. 7 episodes too late should have been in episode 1. But I liked stuff like that. I thought the HBO has really drummed up a good collection of people who are able to put together on screen these large choreographed battles in a way that is very impressive.
For sure.
This reminded me a lot of the episode in the original Bad Show, the Castle Black fight, which I think was the end of season 4, like episode 8 or 9 of season 4, I believe it was, where we spent the first like quarter of that episode in Meereen, and then we spent the rest of it at like the Battle of Castle Black, which was also a very well shot, very well choreographed battle. And that all takes a lot of skill and a lot of planning and a lot of teamwork that later seasons of the Bad Show lost. So like the battle at Winterfell, for example, was fucking stupid, and it was obvious how stupid it was on our screens, and it really broke everything. So I do appreciate, my eyes appreciated watching Tumbleton.
Absolutely.
The problems with it were things that came from previous episodes that had no way of resolving here because of those decisions.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, when it comes down to it, even if my eyes love to see it, if my brain doesn't understand it, then it's kind of irrelevant. So I think that writing is a lot more important, unfortunately, than how shiny. It was so shiny. It was so shiny. And I could see the work on the screen. I know the teams of people that worked on the choreography of the fight. And I know the costumers who put together the Northmen, the Winter Wolves costumes, which was just awesome. And just like the actors who just absolutely landed it everywhere. And at the end of the day, what are you going to do when the script is just a pile of dog shit? There's not a lot that can be done. So my praise is I can see a lot of people worked really hard on it. My critique is, unfortunately, that does not include the writers of the show. What about you? Do you have any positives?
Yeah, I mean, I think the positives for me were I think think the positives for me were they were worn down quickly because I was like, Rhaenyra doing stuff.
Hey.
Like, because the bar is so goddamn low.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, why is Rhaenyra doing these things before we there was just a lot of that sort of stuff where it was like, oh, finally, like things are happening because nothing's been happening. And then the things that were happening I also didn't really jive with, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about especially Rhaenyra's treatment in this episode, but yeah, so I think I would echo the stuff about like it looked very impressive. There are a lot of sequences that felt big, and like the battle definitely had a sense of scale, which I think was nice. It didn't feel particularly, I think what's easy for some of these things to happen is that they feel very they try to create scale via like just pure CG. And it just, I think this did a good job of creating scale by there's just a lot of people involved in what's going on, and it was like spreading out the action in that way. The problem with that is that it leads to the fact that by my count there were 41 like distinct scenes in this hour-long episode. Not cuts, not shots. 41 distinct scenes, which is too many for a show that is like 60 something minutes.
Yeah, the episode was slightly over long. I think it was like a little over 60, or maybe it was the full 60. Sure. But yeah, that we're back at it's too many. I mean, I look back to the one good episode of The Bad Show was Blackwater, right? The Blackwater episode. Yeah, season 2, episode 9. I can't remember the first time I rode a bicycle, but I remember that was season 2, episode 9. And that was sometimes they call it a bottle episode. It's not quite a bottle episode, but it's an episode where everything happened in one location.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if Tumbleton should have been that, because the disparity of being like pretty much primarily in Tumbleton, but also cutting to King's Landing on these like other side plots they felt like they had to put together. And then that one shot of Alicent in the woods, which we'll get to.
I've got thoughts on that. Like that was, oh man.
Every season she's just running to the woods, man. That's all where she wants to be. I agree. I think the number of scenes creates a disjointedness. I think naturally in television, which is a visual medium, as you go from scene, I mean, we call it a cut for a reason, right? It cuts to something else. So something you're doing, like some narrative thing you are doing, is interrupted and moved elsewhere. Yeah. And when your audience's attention is doing that, you lose threads, you lose connectivity. And a lot of people have been complaining about this season, and I agree. There's a lack of connective tissue here, and things feel disjointed, and the pacing feels weird. Similar to season 2. I do wonder if this had been a 10-episode season, if we would have gotten a full episode 8 or 9 that was just Tumbleton. Right. And I would have preferred a 45-minute Tumbleton to a 75-minute Tumbleton, etc.
Tumbleton and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can just go ahead and dive into our review of this episode, because we know that it's going to take a while. I will say to Marla in the chat, we all need Dunk and Egg at any given time.
We will be back to Dunk and Egg. We will
be back to Dunk and Egg. Yes. But so this episode, Belak, there was a moment at the intro to this episode where I knew we were in trouble. Do you know? Do you know what moment I knew we were?
I don't remember what the first scene was. What was the first scene?
It was right after the intro. There's a title card of "Written for Television" by Ryan Condal.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yep, and I said, "Oh,"
and I was done. Like, "Terrorism inbound."
Chat, we are cooked.
Help! I was calling for backup the second that popped up.
That man needs to go to jail for at least a few days.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we'll get into, because some of the stuff he's saying about this finale is they need to cut his mic off.
I did not have the heart to watch the inside outside the episode last night. No. I didn't have the mental capacity. No. But I've heard some things he said, and I need him to take away his pen and take it away.
I had someone in one of my in the comment section of one of my TikToks say everything I've learned about inside the episode, I've learned against my will.
Yes.
Which I was like, that is so real.
What's so funny, just to make a comment on this particular phenomenon, this is like an HBO specific problem, that for their shows, they do these inside outside the episodes that almost always make things worse.
Yeah.
They do it for Game of Thrones. Night of the Seven Kingdoms had the same problem. This show has that problem. And The Last of Us, which is unrelated to the Game of Thrones universe, same problem. They get these people, they let these people do interviews and they say shit. And I'm like,
just stop talking.
I'm like, please stop. I don't want to know. I am steel manning this for you. I'm coming up with a better explanation than you're giving, because I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. Don't take away that benefit. Just leave it alone. Stop. Shh.
Yeah, let us form the opinions. Like, don't try to explain your way out of it.
Right.
Yeah, really crazy. So I knew we were in trouble because Ryan Cottle wrote this episode, or was like one of the head writers on this episode. Yes. The episode begins the morning after Aegon and Sunfire torch the Mooten host at the end of the last episode. And Maester Orwyle is beelining it for Rhaenyra's chambers and tells Rhaenyra that Aegon is alive. We don't see him tell her that, but the next scene is Rhaenyra fully hyperventilating and going to Aemond and basically crashing out about the fact that Aegon and Sunfire are alive.
And in a shocking turn of events, she's crying. I can't believe Rhaenyra would cry about something. It's not like it's happened in every goddamn episode and every scene that she's been in. But she's crying.
Yeah, I mean, this what did you make of the fact that, because obviously they use this as the launching off point for essentially Rhaenyra the Cruel to take hold. What did you think about the fact that Aegon's reappearance with Sunfire is the inciting, like the thing that pushes her over the edge?
This is a direct change from the source material, because after Rook's Rest, Aegon is off the map until the very end of the dance, quote unquote. If that's depending on where you end the dance, he is missing for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, for some reason, Rhaenyra's story doesn't make sense. And I think, unfortunately, I'm going to have to suffer through another watch of this season to figure it out, because it just doesn't follow to me that she's so concerned about him being alive when she has so many dragons and so many army and holds the capital. And this dovetails with later scenes with her, but she has this like weird but sporadic obsession with being anointed by the High Septon, which, like, the last Targaryen king that cared about that shit was Jaehaerys and Alysanne, and that was because they were like facing potentially like legit like the crumbling of the kingdoms because of their incest stuff. Sure. But by the time Rhaenyra is on the throne, that's like well established. I meant to go back in the text and check to see if she was anointed or not. But I didn't like that her response to it was to run to Daemon crying and hyperventilating, and she would be crying and hyperventilating in front of people. Like, there are servants in the room.
Right.
And again, it comes back to like, they won't let Rhaenyra like be a good politician in this show. Like, she knows what she's supposed to look like. She understands. And sometimes they have her like understanding the trappings of power, like wearing the armor and that, whatever.
Sure.
But it didn't jive with me that this was the thing that would cause that reaction, and that she would let herself look so bothered by it, because she's smart enough to know she should look like, who gives a fuck? He's not king anyway.
Right.
Is he sitting the throne? No. He can come here with his injured dragon and his injured self and let him try to take it. You know?
Exactly. Well, the fact that Rhaenyra, and this is where like this whole thing falls short. I guess there's two aspects for me. The first is they had their opportunities throughout the show to truly begin some sort of slide, right, for Rhaenyra. At the end of season 1, the finale of season 1, that final shot of Emma Darcy. And they talked about it in the inside the episode of there was war in her eyes or whatever.
Yep. This is it. This is the time. Now things are going to happen.
Luke's death is going to incite her to start being decisive and to start to stop like fucking around, basically. But then she fucks around for a whole season.
She certainly does. She certainly does.
But then at the Red Sowing, they give her, she's like allowing these peasants and whoever to like be sacrificed to the dragons, and is starting to down this path of like religious zealotry, basically, of like the dragons are gods and Valyrian gods are like, this power is all that matters, and I am their chosen power, and all this sort of stuff. They could have done it then, but then she doesn't do anything with that for a long time. And it's almost like they wanted us to like pause, where it's like, okay, remember that we did that like 10 episodes ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
That's now relevant again. Like, that's now what she's doing now. Don't think about the fact that she hasn't reflected on that or said anything about it in the intervening episodes. Like, that to me is like the weakness here, is that Rhaenyra has been so inconsistent.
Bingo.
And I honestly think that a big part of the problem of this season is what I would maybe venture to guess is your least favorite episode, episode 3, where we got a POV episode of Rhaenyra, like, that I think is supposed to be her descent into like genuine madness and paranoia, where she's like hallucinating Jace and all this other stuff. But because that is presented that specific way, and then her paranoia is not really presented in an aggressive way the rest of the season, it means that the audience is sort of left like, oh, okay, I guess it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But then suddenly it's very bad.
And so I agree with you. And I think that's why I struggle with this finale, because I watch it and I see what could have been, the show that was promised, like we were talking about last time.
Exactly.
I see how because there's a number of different ways you could adapt Rhaenyra. That, because Fire and Blood is a flawed history, there's a lot of wiggle room there for how you choose to adapt it. And I think two things about this that I see in this episode is that, number one, I don't think the writers understood that, in my opinion, from a close reading of Fire and Blood and The Dance, the story of The Dance with Dragons is not the story of Rhaenyra descending into madness. She does not become paranoid. She does not become mad. And actually, at the point in time when the dance ends, we'll say, she is in the process of regrouping and remustering forces, because more forces have just come from the north. There are forces on the way from the Vale. Like she has more armies en route. And she's in the process of getting that together when other events occur that end The Dance with Dragons. So there really isn't like the whole concept that she's like paranoid and crazy and Maegor with teats and all these sort of things is fiction based on like the events as described in Fire and Blood, right? Not the words the Maester uses, because he has a bias, but based on the events and the things that she does in Fire and Blood. Some of which are with the Valyrians, which have been cut from the show, which really bothers me, and we'll circle back to the Valyrians. But let's say you wanted to adapt. Rhaenyra goes crazy. Rhaenyra becomes paranoid, and she has like, I actually kind of love this like religious zealot thread. I think that's a really interesting, like a really interesting aspect of this, that like she might be getting paranoid because she's having self-doubt introduced, and she's beginning to question, is she really the answer to this prophecy.
Right.
You know, I think that's actually a really interesting idea. But to do that, I think the writers severely misunderstand a aspect of human psychology that would work here really well, which is that it is so frustrating. And I'm sure you've been in this position, like at work. It is so frustrating to be competent at what you're doing and to have to clean up everyone else's messes all the time.
Right.
And you get blamed for shit other people do. Yeah. And you just like you're doing what you're supposed to do. You know, you're in the group project doing your part of the group project, and the 3 other people in the group project fuck up their parts, and then you have to fix it, and then you get blamed because the project is late, and you're like, but I did my part of the project. It's these fuckers, but you're the one that gets blamed. The monarch gets blamed for everything.
Sure.
Like, you know, that's how leadership is. And it could be so deeply frustrating for that to happen. And Absolutely. If that's happening on a grand scale, on a countrywide, nationwide scale, for everything, and she's just getting blamed over and over for mistakes of other people that are like she can't control, or she told them not to, like whatever the situation is, and you could do a little soup of incompetent people, actual deception, people who make mistakes. Like you can do a soup of different things and make that cause her to get just so frustrated over time and become violent. Oh no, Phil, I've lost your video.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm still here.
Oh, you're back. You're back. Okay, I see you.
That was weird.
Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about? Like that. Have you ever had that happen like at work where like you're just doing everything and everyone is like fucking up around you and you're just like, God damn it, why can't anyone do anything right? It's very frustrating. And they could have done something like that, but instead they did this sort of haphazard thing that as you've described.
Yeah, and that's what I think, like her turn, all of this stuff. And I think the religious zealotry, like this idea that she basically, I would have liked to have seen, they planted seeds for some of this stuff where it's like her and Daemon were married in the Valyrian tradition, and like they could have done her like casting off Westerosi tradition and embracing Valyrian religion and stuff like that, but they actually had her this season like making an effort to go to the Sept and try to placate people by like being traditionally religious in a, you know, Faith of the Seven way. And
they had her caring about the High Sept and anointing her.
Right. So because it could have easily been like, no, I'm like, I am the blood of old Valyria and all this sort of stuff. Like if they want to go down this whole like Targaryen exceptionalism slash, you know, religious zealotry for a different religion, but they didn't really have her do any of that. Like she just is now doing it. And so I think to me, it just felt very odd. And I actually, so the next scene, the fact that Daemon is the one who pushes her, I also thought was annoying because again, it's like Rhaenyra just can't just do stuff for herself. Like she has to have somebody tell her to do it.
Yeah.
But the next scene is Rhaenyra talking to Baela, and aside from the very, what I would say now is like blatant problems with the treatment of Black characters in the show, like where Rhaenyra has never, to my memory, like physically, outside of Otto Hightower, I guess, like, but she's never really physically manhandled like a different character. Like even Alicent is the person who in season 1 is violent with Rhaenyra, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Slashing her arm and stuff like that. And so I can't think of another time that Rhaenyra has like physically manhandled someone. For her to grab Baela's face like that really was like shocking to me. And I just wrote in my notes like, oh, this is just a different character now. Like that was my like, oh, Rhaenyra just is different. And there wasn't again, it just felt very jarring. Like I was okay. I was okay with the turn, and like is being said in chat, like I think it's Daryl Seymour is saying, like it just felt like it came out of nowhere. Like I'm okay with it, you know, big picture. If you like zoom all the way out though and take into context, like, you know, everything else that has happened, it's like, well, why is this happening specifically now? And why is Rhaenyra, I don't know, it almost felt like they were trying to make what Baela said true, because Baela says, like, you abuse the people who are close to you, and I'm like, when? Like, yes, right now that's happening, but
and she's
when
like,
has that happened?
And she's like, you use people that are useful. It's like, yeah, she's the sovereign. That's the whole fucking point. She's not like, what are you talking? Yeah, you use people that are useful, but fucking genius over here. My problem with the scene with Baela was like, yes, the suddenness of it, but also like the absolute contrivance that these two characters would have animosity. Because in order for these two characters to have animosity, you have to make me believe that, one, Rhaenyra blames Baela in some fashion for Jace's death. That Baela is not responsible for Jace's death. Jace locked mommy in her room and flew off on his own. If anyone is to blame for Jace's death, it's Jace. So,
and the Triarchy soldiers
and the people that shot him through the neck.
Yeah,
and like, that guy, you know, like
those are the two parties that you could say are responsible,
right? And there hasn't been any indication earlier in the season that Rhaenyra actually blames Baela, except that Baela says it, but I don't see it on my screen. So that's contrivance number one. Contrivance number two is that this whole fucking Corlys being captured plot, and that Baela really cares that much about it. That Baela's like, you have to, because she's yelling at Rhaenyra about like, how are you going to save the sea snake? And Rhaenyra can't even like come up with a good lie and be like, we are going to do everything we can to get him out of Tumbleton. That's one of our goals when we take Tumbleton, is to save your grandsire and literally my hand. That is what we were trying to do. Instead, she's just like, sucks to fucking suck, man. I don't know. Like, what are you talking about? She would never say that.
She says something about Corlys made his choice or something like that. And like, he was literally kidnapped, but also why, like, how does Rhaenyra know what happened to Corlys? That was my other thing.
It was posted on Westerosi Twitter.
That was my, I was like, wait, how Rhaenyra hasn't known anything that's going on the whole season by like, which we'll get to what happens with Mysaria, but she hasn't known anything that's going on. How does she know now that Corlys was kidnapped when there were literally no witnesses to it, and like Corlys has been off fighting the Triarchy or whatever?
Well, she gazed out her window and she saw Corlys entering the plot cul-de-sac and just walking his way around, and she's like, Baela, don't worry, he's gonna come out, he's gonna come right back around the same entrance.
Don't worry, Steve Toussaint doesn't watch the show, so it's fine.
It's gonna be okay. You don't have to worry. I don't have to do anything about this problem because it's a plot contrivance that is going to solve itself. So that scene, I actually kind of want to go back and rewatch that, because I think that's like one of the first examples of what we classically call a non-versation, which is a conversation, quote unquote, or rather it's more a series of dialogue where two characters are kind of talking at each other but not really responding to one another. And House of the Dragon has not, as far as I recall, had any non-versations up until this point. Non-versations were a staple of the Bad Show. Yeah, the Bad Show was pretty much by the end all non-versations. And I watched
sex position and non-versations.
Sex position and non-versations. And I was listening to that scene and I'm like, what's happening? What are they talking about? What is she saying? And there's also, and we talked about this a bit last week, there's so many times where it's like they're relying on really smart people miscommunicating with each other to like create these problems. Right. And I felt like that conversation was just a bunch of miscommunication. You know, that was just like that was just two characters talking past each other. And so
I had someone
did not love to see it.
I had someone in my comments of another TikTok talking about the fact that like the characters in the show don't talk to each other like actual humans talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
They just say the thing that they need to say
Mm-hmm.
with no understanding of like what the other person is saying or reaction to it, right? It's just those things are said and then they say the things that they need to say, and it's not like an actual conversation. It is literally just like the words that they want them to say, and it's like it just feels it feels very odd. And this one in particular just unfortunately it added to the long list of just like the poor treatment of Velaryon or like black characters in the show. By white characters, because we have Rhaena getting slapped by Jane Eyre, and now Rhaenyra puts her hands on Baela. It's just like not good, not a good look.
Nope.
Then we get Alan of Hull on a beach being way too like calm about the fact that he's like, well, I'm in charge now, and they're like, who the fuck are you? Like
he's like, I'm the definitely legitimate heir of the sea snake. Did that happen?
Like, not really. I mean, because he's not been legitimized. So
yeah, I thought the whole reason the sea snake ran away was because it wasn't.
Yeah, it hasn't. They haven't been legitimized. So I guess he's just counting on the fact that Corlys has named him heir, that eventually it will happen.
Maybe, I don't know.
But yeah. So that I thought was Alan in this episode. We'll talk more about Alan in this episode. In the more decisive scene. But there's stuff going on. Then we get the Hightowers prepping for the Tumbleton battle. And then we cut to Ulf, the White, who is in Tumbleton, I think, and he's yelling his plan to betray Team Black to the kitchen staff of this random place in Tumbleton.
Yep. That might be Castle Tumbleton. That might be in the castle at Tumbleton. If that's if you're right, because that is a kitchen staff. So that might be in the castle. Inside.
I really laughed at there's one shot where the cook, I guess, is like leaning against the oven and is listening to Ulf's plan, like with his arms crossed, and is like, well, how's that gonna work? And I'm like, hold on. How do any of these people know any of what he's talking about?
Right. I have so many questions. How do people not, like, where is his dragon during all of this? How does Rhaenyra not know? How does Rhaenyra not know that one of the people she went to watch Tumbleton regularly is spending time inside Tumbleton?
Both of them are apparently
drinking. At least Hugh kind of does a ninja sneaking in. You know, he pretends to be the pig farmer, and he sneaks in behind a donkey carrying bananas.
Never saw him leave Tumbleton, and that's why I was like, because at the end of last episode, I was like, wait, is Hugh still in Tumbleton? And then he's just out of Tumbleton at the beginning of this episode. But yeah, it would.
Whether Ulf is shouting this in Tumbleton or King's Landing, it should have been known.
Yes.
Like this is like the whispers bitch situation. Yeah, Mysaria does need to be fired because she is a terrible mistress of whispers. She's doing a terrible job.
And that's kind of the thing for me, is like they've let characters be really willy-nilly with stuff. In that, like, Rhaenyra tells the random Frey woman about the prophecy and about her assassination attempt of Daeron and Ormond, and I'm just like, she doesn't do anything. Like, what? She doesn't have a job around here. Like, why is she on a need to know about like the covert operations of the crown? It was just very so this is the sort of stuff where when Ulf is just like talking loudly about this, I'm like, oh, someone's gonna find out. Like, there's gonna be a spy, there's gonna be whatever, someone. Ulf's gonna be trying to find his wife Hugh's gonna be trying to find his wife and like overhear
yes.
I'm like, oh, he's being like so careless about this, and it just didn't matter. It was just Ulf shouting at his plan so that the audience knew his plan.
Yeah, because we didn't know his plan before.
Right, even though we had a scene at the end of last episode where we exactly knew the plan.
Right. No, they had to shout it again. They had to, and burn in the screen time, just burning it up like Dragon's gone.
Right.
It's the field of fucking fire out here with the amount of screen time being burned in the show.
Yeah. It's Harrenhal.
Harrenhal 2.0 over here.
So Alinda Massey tells Rhaenyra that Helena has disordered eating. And
which, can I just say, that is not the kind of shit you bother the queen with.
Right.
That I'm like, why are you?
Your prisoner won't eat.
Okay, figure it the fuck out. Yeah, do something about it. I don't know. Like, I'm not. Rhaenyra's like, I'm not a fucking nutritionist. I don't know what to do.
Well, it was funny because like I felt like both of them were bothering each other with shit that they aren't really aren't gonna be able to do anything about. Where Alinda is like, Rhaenyra, like, Helena's not eating, and Rhaenyra is like, I need to be anointed by the High Septon, and Alinda Massey is like, I don't have I don't have the pull to be able to do that. Like, can you imagine if can you imagine if like your office manager walked in and you're like, I need a meeting with the Pope.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't even know where to start with that.
That's very true. I did like that scene.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so what happens after? So Alinda says,
oh, so we get
Helena has disordered eating, and then
Rhaenyra is like, I need a meeting with the Pope. But and then Alinda Massey gets a message to deliver, which is basically it's something else that Mysaria didn't know, which is that she's fired.
Yes.
And it's almost like
sad.
Her not seeing her firing coming is like the reason she's being fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I actually don't think that's why she's being fired. I don't know. Like, did you get the sense that she's being fired for incompetence, or did you get the sense that she's being sent away because Rhaenyra is like, we had sex and we have to you can't be around here?
Neither. I think that the writers want us to think that Rhaenyra sending away Mysaria is part of her like paranoia, but they haven't established that, because last episode Rhaenyra was like, you're manipulating me, and it's like Mysaria has not successfully manipulated Rhaenyra to do one goddamn thing, as evidenced by the fact that Rhaenyra has not done one goddamn thing. Right. So I'm like, this would have made more sense if there had been something, if there had been, I don't know, let's draw out this religious zealotry, right? Because we both kind of like this idea. If there had been this pressure throughout the season from Mysaria of, you really need to be anointed by the High Septon. Like, the people are not going to accept you without you being anointed. If Mysaria had been that voice, and then there had been more than one scene in episode 2 where Rhaenyra tried and it didn't work. If Rhaenyra had tried a few times to like appease the High Septon and it hadn't worked, and this was like an ongoing problem. And then finally in this last episode, Rhaenyra is like, fuck the High Septon. I don't need to be anointed. Send this lady away. I'm going to go assassinate the High Septon, basically, and talk about dragons to everybody. Like, that could have made sense. But because the Mysaria would have been trying to influence her to do something, to actually do something that Rhaenyra ultimately chooses not to do, and feels she doesn't need to do to rule. And so sending Mysaria away would make sense. Anything along those lines, like that actually had them doing stuff. Yeah. But like, there was no reason to send Mysaria away.
I kind of wish that they had been like, that they had called out like the incompetence, because it would have been nice for Rhaenyra to, as part of the, maybe even as part of the scene in last episode. I don't know if you could, if you could end it the same way, but the fact that like the Gold Cloak murders, like they never really find out, like they never found out that Ormond is, orchestrating those from Tumbleton.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know what's going on inside of Tumbleton.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know that her dragon riders are actively going into Tumbleton, one of which is like planning on betraying them. Like she doesn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they could have used the Gold Cloak murders as like Rhaenyra's like, my city is like, my capital is turning on me, and my Mistress of Whispers doesn't like, has done nothing to protect me, like to keep me in in the good graces of the people, where in theory the spies and stuff should be allowing the queen to know what's going on so that she can make informed decisions.
Right. Yeah.
And so even her just saying something along the lines of like, I am, flying blind because my Mistress of Whispers doesn't know anything.
Even if there had just been a scene where Rhaenyra had been like, you're fired, and Mysaria was like, why? And like, why? I'm helping you. I'm doing all this for you. And if Rhaenyra had just been like, what have you done for me?
Yeah.
What have you done?
Name one thing.
Yeah. You didn't know this. You didn't know that. You didn't know that. Like, you knew none of these things. The one thing you knew was that Helaena was with child, and you didn't tell me. Alicent did.
Right.
Like there could have been, you're right. There could have been like, oh, I would have loved that. Oh, the show that never was.
Yeah.
That should have been.
And then we get a little scene with Helaena. She's in the courtyard with the white horse, which she saw in her dream, spooky. And this is the point I think she walks past Mysaria, and Mysaria is like, don't trust Rhaenyra.
Yeah. Myzaria's like, I'm bitter. I was just fired. She's like, don't trust Rhaenyra. Like, you'll always be a prisoner. Your babe will always be a prisoner. She'll never let you go. And it's like, obviously.
Right. Like until the war is over. Sure.
Yeah. At least until the war is over. Like, did we think
your brother husband is literally trying to still usurp the throne? So
right. Like, did we think anything different? Is this news? Like, and Helena's like, oh, it's like, okay, sweetie.
And then we cut to Harrenhal. And I'm filled with dread. So in case you hadn't noticed, Aemon survives the poisoning, shocker, by Alicent, and then has this whole speech where he talks about how bad kinslaying, like he's come to grips with like how bad kinslaying is. And I'm like, is he coming to grips with it because his mom tried to murder him?
Yeah, because someone tried to kinslay him.
Yeah.
And also,
like, hey guys,
like
it's against the rules.
I get he thinks that Aegon is dead at this moment, but like also like justice for Lucerys, because Lucerys was also you kinslaying.
Yeah.
So, and that was your first kinslaying. That was like the kinslaying that was like the impetus of all this.
Right.
So,
well, and in the books, like Aegon's injuries have nothing to do. Like Aemond is not blamed for Aegon's burning at Rook's Rest in the books. So that is like a show invention that he feels bad about kinslaying his brother.
But this show
he's called the kinslayer because of Lucerys.
Yeah. The show has a really big problem with people dying and people dying and everyone forgetting about it.
Yeah.
So justice for Luke, like this is a place he could have mentioned Luke.
Right.
He could have been like, wow, I was almost kinslayed and now I understand why kinslaying is bad. It feels really bad to almost die because your mom tries to kill you. I feel sad about that. Right. And then Alice Rivers says, wait until you hear this shit.
Okay.
Alice Rivers says, that's cool. I'm gonna let you finish, but
this reveal really made because the idea, I think, people were all over the place in terms of like, is Alice Rivers a woods witch? Is she a green seer? Is she a a warg? Is she like, you know, all of these different things of like, what is Alice Rivers really? What's her whole story? I was not anticipating them being like to camera. I am the wife of Heron the Black, and who tried to save her son and was cursed by the woods, and now lives like in Harrenhal. I like, what did you make of them giving her specifically like not just being magic, but being a noble woman, like whose stuff was basically like, they took my name and my castle and now I want it back.
Yeah. So when I watched this initially, so I'll preface it with this. I don't particularly care about Alice Rivers. There are people that are like really, really, really invested in Alice Rivers. I have never understood that fascination. And that's just me. That's fine. There's a reason there's so many characters in the story. I have my concerns elsewhere. That's okay. I would actually be interested. I haven't seen yet TikToks by our friends who care a lot about Alice Rivers on the talk. I should go check, because we have a few that are like really into Alice Rivers. Yeah. And I'd be really interested to see their interpretation. So for me, it was sort of like neither here nor there what it was. I kind of liked the implication earlier in the season that she was a woman who grew up there and had political ambition to have a castle, and was sort of like, why not me? Like, I would be perfect for this role. I kind of like that, because in the books, I have a feeling that Alice in the books is also like just a woman who lives at Harrenhal, and all of this, like, she's spooky scary and she does magic, and it's just like what the historians like put on her, in the same way that Visenya was spooky scary. Like, she wasn't really, she was just she was a dragon rider with a sword who could fucking kill you. That, to that extent, she was spooky scary, but she wasn't magic. And there's a long pattern in Westerosi history of women who wield political power or physical martial power being categorized as, you know, she's a witch. And that's like also kind of like what happens in real human history, right? So that's just a very natural kind of aspect of human society. All of that to say, I didn't care so much that they made her Harren the Black's widow. I was kind of like, okay, I guess that gives her an explanation for why she's so invested in Harrenhal. But I don't know that it does anything for any, like, it just kind of like, okay, that's cool. You got cursed somehow to be young and hot forever. Oh no. So sad.
What a terrible curse.
Right. And oh no, you get to live in this big castle all by yourself, and you can't die apparently. Which is bad.
That was my, so like the idea, you know, there are characters in the main series who are old, and like obviously, you know, Bloodraven, I think, is the most famous person who's like unnaturally prolonged life, but he's also like plugged into a weirwood tree.
He's also part tree, yeah.
Trees
live a long time.
He's on a docking station. Like, he can't be. He's not portable. And yeah, I know on the like she can't leave the castle, but to me, I don't know. It just felt strange in that, like, we just haven't encountered other stuff like that. Like, there's always the spooky woman thing, but it's, to me, that's always struck me as like, oh, you know,
I'm just much more interested in a spooky woman who's just a normal person,
right? And that's what I was kind of hoping that there would be not a mundane explanation, because I'm glad that the show chose to do something like weird for once, instead of just doing everything can be explained away by something mundane, right? Like, because the show has often done that of like, oh yeah, it says that in the book, but like really just this boring thing happened, or this misunderstanding happened, or this like whatever. So I think the choice to do something interesting is fine. I just, like, when it was like, I'm Harren the Black's widow, I laughed, because I was like, that's fucking insane. Like, that just seems insane to me. Also, the funny part of this is that after Aemond is like, that's like over 100 years ago, he gets horny.
Yeah. Well, because now she's closer in age to his mom. So he's like, oh, yeah.
I'm like, wouldn't it be weirder if you're like, how are you alive? Like, that was a long time ago.
But I also want to know that, like,
he's like, I don't have follow-ups. I'm ready.
Like, he said, this is my cool goth girlfriend, and I am ride or die for her. I know people have stronger opinions on this than I do, and I'm willing to adopt someone else's stronger opinion on Alice, this particular adaptation. I don't know. I think she's far more interesting if she's a normal person who has really talented, has like skills, as opposed to like whoopsie doodling her way into magic, or even if she like intentionally magicked, because she made it sound like it was an accident to be immortal. And even if it had been like, I tried to save my son and it didn't work out, but in the process I found out how to never die, and I determined that I was going to take revenge. And I was gonna I found a plot hole. Oh, see, this fucking show. I'm Harren the Black's widow. He was killed by Aegon the Conqueror, a Targaryen who burned his castle. My new boyfriend is Aemond Targaryen, who has the largest dragon, a dragon who was alive at the time of the burning of my castle that killed my husband and my son and all my people. I'm going to marry him and have Dragon Lord children.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Wouldn't it make more sense if she was like trying to kill the Targaryens? If she was maybe trying to fuck them up?
Yeah, like I want revenge.
Yeah, like I'm going to get, like I discovered the way to be immortal and I'm now going to get revenge on the people. Like even if I have to play the really long game.
Yeah, I actually am more into that. So,
but do you think they planned this from last season, or do you think they just came up with this shit?
I don't know. I'm in the mind where all of this stuff was written like on set.
Yeah, like 15 minutes before they filmed it. Yeah.
They're like, it would be cool.
Like, grab that actor. Come here. Can you cry on cue? We have an idea.
I've got some lore.
I got some fucking lore.
Yeah.
So that happens, and it's really important and impactful for the episode.
Yeah, I also didn't consider the fact, as Marla brought up, like, like she was with Daemon, and that all like also doesn't make sense. And the like Weirwood pace, like, there's just not a lot of explanation of like, did she whoopsie doodle her way into Green Seer magic? Is she actually like fully invested in Old Gods magic? Like, does she understand the magic? Does she understand what is driving the magic? I don't know. Like, the whole thing is just very, yeah.
Maybe she's just really into blondes,
It could just be, yeah. I mean, she has like a complex since a hot Targaryen burned her husband and sons to death.
Can I cook on this for just a minute? Because there's actually, the show that never was. So in the text of A Song of Ice and Fire at Large, Harrenhal sort of fulfills a role of being it's like a symbolic shadow to King's Landing. It's near King's Landing. It's a castle that was burned by Dragonfire. It's huge. It's kind of a foreshadowing of what is probably going to be the fate of King's Landing, right? And consequently, things that happen there tend to be more meaningful, like metaphorically, symbolically, and foreshadow-wise, like in a literary way, than things that just like happen elsewhere. If you had in this show Rhaenyra Targaryen, who's trying to rule and has lost her sons, and part of her motivation is revenge, if that was what was written. And then you have the shadow of King's Landing and the shadow of Rhaenyra there being Alice Rivers, who, and Rhaenyra too, who's lost her sons and is using an ancient magic, which is the violence of the dragons, to try to get revenge. And then you have the shadow of King's Landing, which is Harrenhal, and you have Alice Rivers, and you write her as Harren the Black's widow. And she's a woman who has lost her sons and her family and is trying to use an ancient magic to exact her revenge. And those two people are at odds because they're on opposite sides of that conflict, Rhaenyra unknowingly, but like that's a really interesting parallel. And the fact that Alice is like alone at on this revenge road, that everything is gone, but she's like immortally trapped in the pursuit of revenge, because the pursuit of revenge is actually a bad thing and it doesn't ever gain you anything. You don't feel better from revenge. It's sort of a foreshadow of Rhaenyra's descent into that same spiral and that same cycle.
Right.
So if you pull that out from the text, and you could have written it that way, but they didn't. So I don't know what to say about that. But there could have been something really cool there.
I like that.
Yeah. They need like one nerd. I keep saying they just need one nerd in the writing
single
room.
Nerd.
Just a singular nerd. Any of us, HBO. Any of us would do it. We would do it for free, HBO. So it's really important that Harrenhal happens this episode because it's very impactful.
Yeah, we'll return there one more time at least. Then we get Helaena and Rhaenyra, which it starts as a conversation about bugs. Ends as a conversation about Helaena telling Rhaenyra how ugly she is, and that Viserys would have hated her, which is just really crazy for a number of reasons.
Okay, this is number one crazy because Viserys would not have hated Rhaenyra for force feeding Helaena. Viserys would have said, "Who is Helaena?" So
Viserys definitely did not know who Helaena was.
Viserys could not pick Helaena out of a lineup.
And I do think it's funny that it's like Rhaenyra's like response to this, and I saw a video on this earlier today, and I wish I could remember who made it, but the just talking about the fact that like it would be so easy for Rhaenyra to be like, my father named me heir, and like doubled down on that twice. So no, he would hate our brother for usurping me.
Right.
And he would hate Otto for like making it happen, and your mother for fighting for this thing that was against his wishes. And like, I'm not saying that she needs to dunk on Helaena, but I think Rhaenyra allows herself to be dunked on constantly when it's like, you are the rightful heir. By like, I am the person on the internet who talks about the fact that rightful in A Song of Ice and Fire has no meaning, and it's like it is not important, right? Because there's all these arguments in both the main series and this that like, who's the rightful king? And it's like, you know, mostly people are like, but Stannis is the rightful king, blah 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 blah, and it's like the system means that like that only matters up until the point that you can enforce it, but for people's legitimacy and like the people in the system do believe that it matters, right? Like, and so for Rhaenyra to just constantly allow people to say shit to her when it's like the law is actually on her side, right? Like there is nothing, like she is doing the right thing,
right?
Like by the letter of the law. I'm not saying that like every decision's correct and all this other stuff, but like by the letter of the law, she's in the right, and she just allows herself to be called like wrong all the time. And I'm like, you can actually throw your weight around because you are the queen by right and by law, right? Like
she also does not need to speak to Helaena at all. She could just say, "That's a prisoner. Take care." Like I'm like, certainly you have more important matters to attend to, than talking to Helaena about bugs. Also, the dialogue of Helaena being like, there's a beautiful beetle. It's only in King's Landing. It's all these pretty colors. It's really pretty. but it eats the, what did she say? Like it eats the
dung,
the
or
dung,
whatever.
the feces. Yeah, it eats like the droppings of other animals. There's a beetle, and Rhaenyra is like, sure, sweetie, there's a beetle. That's that. I haven't seen it. That's nice. And Helena's like, you don't care. And I'm like, no, I don't care about your metaphor, Ryan Condal. I don't care about your metaphor. She's like looking directly at camera and she's like, why aren't you listening to my metaphor? And I'm like, stop it. I'm like, this is stupid. Do something with the screen time that isn't this. This is no. And then ultimately it ends with them force feeding Helena. And I know that was shot to be like a bad thing, but what's the alternative?
She
to let her starve to death? You have someone who's like mentally ill, pregnant, and is not eating. So you have two choices: let her die from starvation, or make her very uncomfortable by force feeding her.
Yeah.
Neither are good options, but one of them she lives. I'm like, was that even like an evil choice? They played like evil music as Rhaenyra was walking out and she was getting fed soup. I'm like, what is happening? Like so evil. She's making her eat dinner.
And like, yeah, it's like forceful in the way it's portrayed, but yeah, it's
force feeding someone is a very violent. It is a violent procedure. It's painful,
and at the same time, like the idea, right? Like the idea of Helena starving to death, along with like the potential complications for her pregnancy, which we'll get into that more so at the end of the episode. But because this decision from the writers is really just like ghoulish, to be honest. But so then we get Alan and Adam in what I would say was one of the weirder scenes of the episode, because Adam essentially confronts Alan about the fact that you are probably fine with Dad getting abducted because you're benefiting directly and you're getting elevated by Rhaenyra. And Alan's like, I'm doing my job. I'm not worried about any of that, even though he literally just a few scenes ago said to those Velaryon soldiers, like, and I'm your boss, because who knows what's going on with Corlys. Maybe he's dead. Like maybe I'm already your lord. But the thing that got me about this is that Adam then does exactly nothing. Like in the context of the episode, why the fuck isn't Adam at Tumbleton? Like, why didn't he go to try? He has a dragon. Like, he also listened to Rhaenyra where she was like, stay away from Tumbleton, and he does. So he's like calling his brother a bootlicker, and then chows down himself. Like,
exactly. The whole thing makes no sense. This is like such a contrived conflict between the two brothers. And it also is all banked or based on the idea that they care about Corlys.
Right.
Corlys didn't even acknowledge them until like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Timeline wise, he has not been in their lives that much. And I mean, they bonded in that scene that was cut from the fucking show, where clearly Alan saved him from the tides in some fashion. But that was cut from the fucking show, and that was it. So, like, it's really weird. It's really weird, and like also it's like, okay, Adam, what do you want Alan to do? Do you want him to not lead the men? Do you want all these Velaryon men to be led by nobody? Like what? Like he has to do this. He may very well end up being Lord of the Tides because your dad did something stupid. So. It's all very contrived. This is a very classic example of contrived conflict.
Speaking of contrived, the next scene we get is on the walls of Tumbleton, and Gwaine and Darren are seeing Ormond and the other Hightower soldiers position children from Tumbleton on the walls. Can you help me understand what Ormond's plan is for these children and why everyone lets him get away with it?
Because Ormond is saying, this is going to be a PR disaster for the Targaryens. I can't wait to post about this tomorrow on Reddit and be like, look at them killing these kids. Because, like, does he really think Daemon Targaryen is going to be like, no, we cannot take Tumbleton. There are children. I'm like, come on. Like, he's known as being, like, crazy and violent. Like, come on. He literally sent in assassins to kill a child. Like,
right. So, well, and I'm confused that, like, so you put the kids up on the walls so that they die. Mm-hmm. Even in a scenario in which, like, someone from outside of Tumbleton or someone from inside of Tumbleton, like, escapes. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh my God, you won't believe this shit. It was horrible. Mm-hmm. The Targaryens burned Tumbleton. Like, dragons burned Tumbleton and a bunch of kids died. Mm-hmm. And someone's like, oh my God, like, how do you know? And they'd be like, well, I found all the burned bodies on the
walls.
And they're like, wait, what were the kids doing on the walls?
Or outside, like, the city in the gate?
Yeah, like, why were there kids? Because I just don't understand, like, giving them weapons and all this stuff. It's like anybody who sees this is going to be like, Ormond Hightower is a monster.
Yep.
Like, if it was like, hey, the Hightower stronghold has all of the kids in Tumbleton in it. Mm-hmm. Right. So when the dragons fly over and try to nuke Ormond, like, they also kill a bunch of kids or whatever. Mm-hmm. That would be one thing of like, oh, they were all sheltering and he was trying to protect the children and
they were in like when you hide all the kids and the ladies in the Red Keep in Maegor's Holdfast. Yeah.
It's like, hey, what happened? I don't know. They rounded up all the kids, armed them, and put them on the walls, and then are like, look at all the bad people out there who killed the kids. And it's like, wait, but why were they on the walls? Mm-hmm. That's my thing. Like, this is a plan. And again, this is treating, and like, it was said a few times in the episode about the realm is watching. Yeah. And I was like, no, the fuck, they are not. Because how could they? Like,
it's being live streamed on TikTok right now.
There are no pictures of what happens at Tumbleton. Like, yes, word of mouth can pass, but if word of mouth is passing, the word of mouth would be the Hightowers marched around, rounded up all the kids in town, put them on the walls, and then allowed the battle to happen so that the kids would die. Like, yeah. I don't understand how there could possibly be someone who's taking pictures of Tumbleton and being like, I can't believe how many kid corpses there are. Can you believe this shit?
Yeah.
Like, they're literally, I don't know. Like, this to me was just like so bonkers because it's like it assumes so many things that just don't make sense in the world that exists.
Yes, completely agree. I just have so many thoughts about this, and we're going to talk about Tumbleton for a while, so I'll start with these. The problem we have is whenever the writers deviate from something that happened in the books, they fuck it up because they're not that smart, and they're not smarter than George, and they haven't thought about it as hard. So in the book, Tumbleton 1, the first battle of Tumbleton, happens when the Blacks, Team Rhaenyra, are holding Tumbleton. They have a relatively small garrison there. It's like 6,000-ish men. But they also have 2 dragons, Riverthor and Silverwing. And the Hightower host marches on Tumbleton. And the trick the Hightowers pull is that they send some of their soldiers ahead disguised as like normies, as like civilians. And they're like, let us into Tumbleton. We're hiding from the army. And Rhaenyra's side obviously lets the peasants in. And then once the battle begins, there's like, it's kind of Trojan horsey kind of thing. Like, there's already soldiers in the city. Yeah, you know, what are you gonna? They saw the new movie and they said that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So there is a trick done by the Hightowers that is like fucking sneaky and kind of dishonorable in a way, you know. And then of course there's the treachery of Ulf, which is the same thing we get here in the show. They couldn't do that because they put the Hightowers in Tumbleton.
Right.
And so they had to come up with a different trick. And that was their genius trick. And it's just dumb because they didn't think it through at all. I don't know why the writers don't ask that follow-up question. You know, like, okay, they did this. Like, unless Ormond really thought it would straight up stop the attack. But then what? He's like, what, making those kids live on the battlements? Like, what? Like, at some point, they got to move.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't end up affecting anything because Daemon and the Winterwolves came up with a different plan of attack, and it worked.
But then, yeah, there was another scene where I was like, I don't understand what they're going to try to do with this. Because they like specifically show Roddy Dustin like murder a child. And it was like, I was like, what, why is that happening? Like, because now Roddy Dustin's dead, right? Like, spoilers, but like he dies.
Spoilers for this episode,
Yeah. So the whole like, so he's dead. He killed this kid on the battlements, and I was like, what are they trying to say about this guy? Like, what is this? What's the point of that? Like, is it just war is hell and these guys are psychopaths who like don't care?
I really don't know. I saw that too, and I was like,
it just seemed like unnecessary. And the kid hits him with like a stick, like doesn't harm him in any way. And this is where, so like showing how brutal war is, it's like they keep doing that. Like they keep using that as the reason that they're showing certain like stuff where it's like people will be like, hey, I think you guys are showing like way too much depictions of sexual assault. And they'll be like, it's just like, this is what happens in war. And it's like, yeah, but you're showing it. Like you're choosing to show it. We know that there's a war on. Like nobody's got any confusion about the fact that this is brutal.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
but actually showing someone putting an axe through a child's face.
Yeah, it was just like, to me, it just felt excessive. Like, and I just don't understand like what they were, because in theory, whatever you're doing is like trying to convey themes or plot or whatever. Like, and that just like, to me, it didn't add to what they were doing with the themes, and it definitely didn't advance the plot. So it's like, why is that on there? Anyways, so then we get, so because of the child's shields, Gwaine and Darren are like, we need to go talk to Corlys Velaryon, because we have a plan. And
well, Gwaine Hightower says, I read Fire and Blood, and I know what my sister proposed in King's Landing before all this, per the text. So I'm going to take that plot instead for me, and I'm going to do it.
This actually we'll talk about it, but that did upset me. This conversation, I don't know, there was like a vibe of this conversation with Corlys that it just didn't resonate with me. I'm like, this just feels like completely out of place. And I will say Corlys in this episode genuinely felt like a character from a different show, like in the show.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, where have you been? Like, are you paying attention to anything anybody's saying around you? Like they literally have him misunderstand what Wayne is proposing. It was like, the whole thing was just so bizarre. And he's standing there with that ridiculous bandage on his hand. And like, it literally made him look like he was, I don't know. He just like looks CGI'd into every scene that he was in. I'm like, are you even there? Like with everybody? Anyways. So they go talk to him. They devise this plan off screen.
Well, so first they're like, we need you to help like broker this peace or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And then Gwaine's like, okay, then the hard way, and like pulls out his sword. And I'm like, did you torture Corlys Velaryon?
Yeah, like, well, and Gwaine
for what, 5 minutes before, like, you tortured him for what, 5 minutes before you walked him outside? And like, what do you mean? Like, what is the hard way? What does that mean? Like, the man already had a finger cut off.
Right. We briefly cut back to King's Landing just to see Mysaria being escorted out of the city, and she just decides to leave the escort. There's like a slight hubbub happening near her, so she just gets off the cart and just walks out into the city, and no one is.
She presses triangle. She presses triangle and dismounts and walks away. Yeah.
And so then we get a scene of Joffrey and Rhaenyra, and I thought for a second in an earlier shot that they were not going to show Joffrey because they have him blurred in the background of
like, they do. You're right.
He's like out of focus and his head is like just out of view. But they do actually show Joffrey in this episode. Rhaenyra does have another son, and she decides in the palanquin on the way to the High Sept, to be like, "Hey, so there's a prophecy."
Yeah, I need to tell you. I was wondering about this. I'm like, why did she do a procession on foot when she could fly on her dragon there?
Yeah, I mean, there's any number.
Because you know when the High Septon would not have said no if she had landed on her dragon. You know when that worked previously, Jaehaerys and Alysanne, when they wanted the High Septon or like the actual Pope in Old Town to anoint their marriage and whatever, they went with their two dragons. They went with Vermithor and Silverwing, and Jaehaerys landed Vermithor in like the courtyard, and Alysanne landed Vermithor on top of the high tower, and fluttered in its flames.
Hell yeah!
And then they're like, "We're just here to talk," and we know Rhaenyra knows how to use dragons in a like, look at the power I have, but I'm not actually going to burn you kind of way.
Yeah.
So like, she should have just flown her dragon there.
Well, and Damon keeps talking about like for all of she like takes certain advice or whatever, but Damon has literally been saying for like 2 seasons, like, you have the dragons, just use the dragons. And Rhaenyra just like is like, well, that would be too easy. Like, I'm gonna do it on hard mode.
Yeah.
And it's very strange because there's just no. Well, I also from a writing perspective, it would be nice for Rhaenyra to wield her dragon power a little more heavy-handedly, because it would also set up future events.
Right. Yes.
Where if she was just parking her dragons all over King's Landing and being like, Gold Cloak murders, boom, I've just put a fucking dragon overlooking Flea Bottom or whatever of like, and like, boom, I landed dragon on the high set on the Sept of Baelor, right? Like, which could feel kind of blasphemous in certain ways, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
So there's like all this stuff that could like help turn public opinion of like, hey, this whole dragon thing, maybe we're not chill with.
Yeah.
And
instead
really they just have her be kind of like ineffectual, and then she still ends up doing a murder. Ordering a murder, I guess.
But what did you think of her crazy eye makeup?
I didn't know what to think. Like, there was like, I don't remember what scene it was exactly, but I was like, did they mean to do that? Like, because it kind of looked at one point like just like it's just like a little smudge there,
like a little smudge. It looked like she was It looked like she was about to go with her friends to like the park behind the high school and take pictures for MySpace, you know?
Yeah.
Like she was about to like high angle that with like the eyeliner and the smudgy, you know. And I'm just like
the sweat bangs, like.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, it's not a phase, Dad, you know. I really like that idea, actually, that if she had been responding to some of these problems throughout the season by just going there on Syrax and maybe getting progressively more violent, like maybe she lands at the Sept and bursts the door down with the dragon face, like the dragon does like a poke, and they're like, this is a holy place, and she's like, that's cool, so you're gonna anoint me now,
right?
Because like I'm here with my dragon, and then they would have said yes, you know. And that would have even been better, I think, if she had gotten what she wanted, if she had gotten the holy oils or the fuck, but she does it in the shadow of her dragon, and everyone can see that that this is not like a willing thing by the High Septon, that he's being forced.
Right.
Yeah. So
before we get there, we cut back to the parlay with Daemon and the army parlaying with Gwaine. So they give Gwaine the kingdom split, as you spoke about, which blew my mind because it's like one of the few things that Alicent does during the dance in the book is proposed this idea, and Alicent and Rhaenyra have had so many conversations.
So many.
And for this to be something that Gwaine proposes to Daemon of all people, where Daemon literally spent last episode or like the last few episodes talking about conquering China.
Yeah.
where it's like this guy isn't going to split anything. Like he's convinced that they are literally reforming the Valyrian Empire.
Yeah.
Just bigger this time.
Right.
So I know that Gwaine doesn't technically know that, but it just made the whole conversation like so crazy, unrealistic.
And it takes away some of the sinisterness of it. So in the book, Alicent is the one that proposes splitting the kingdoms. But it's interesting because the Maester writes it to be like this was a sort of reasonable proposition. Right. But as was pointed out to me by Gretchen on our podcast, House of Fire and Blood, and our guest, I believe we had in that episode was our friend Musa. Because I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, that is kind of reasonable. Like it's not the most reasonable because she is the rightful ruler, but like you could end the war by just splitting it up and saying like, okay, everybody who likes Aegon go south, everybody else stay in King's Landing. And Gretchen and Musa both pointed out to me that Alicent's plot would starve Rhaenyra's kingdom because all the food comes from the south.
Right.
So if you don't have the reach, you can't feed everybody else.
Yeah.
And so it's actually quite a sinister proposition to say, oh, well, we'll just split it in half and we'll just rule from Old Town and have this part of the kingdom. And then you have everything else, but everything else is now going to starve to death.
Right.
It's
the richest. It's like the richest parts of, because the Reach is obviously where they produce the food, but also there's a lot of coin and the Westerlands.
Yeah.
Tons of mining and coin.
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty sinister recommendation because like if you think about that long term, it's like even if that was accepted, let's say, and the kingdoms were split, Aegon would be able to rule in Old Town, muster his forces, and then take over because the Rhaenyra side would be really depleted.
Relatively
resources.
Depleted. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So all of that said, instead it just sounds like a silly thing Gwaine came up with now.
I was really annoyed, and this goes more so. I was just really annoyed with Corlys in this scene because Corlys became the average show watcher who was like, I mean, she's a woman, like
right. He's like, they're not going to accept her.
I was like, and they bring it up, thank God, because if they hadn't mentioned Rhaenys, it was about I was about to, but like. What about Corlys would make him like? Is it really just like that? Rhaenyra won't like legitimize his bastards. Like that's why he's
that's
like
so stupid. That'd be so stupid.
Where he's just fully like, no, it like doesn't make sense. Oh, and this I felt very annoyed by the fact that they had Corlys do like just make him Lord Paramount of the Reach or whatever. And it's like, that's a thing already.
Yeah. There's certainly already someone who is that.
The Tyrells are already there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so like you'd be unseating like another very powerful
major house. Yeah.
And because Corlys is like, well, the great houses like won't, they talk, they're not going for the whole woman thing. So like just make him Lord Paramount of the and I'm like, that plan is also stupid, number one. Also, like, why are you suddenly on this train? And thirdly, like, that isn't what Darren or what Gwaine was proposing quite clearly. Where he says we'll split the kingdoms and like he'll rule from Old Town. And it's like, yeah, make him Lord Paramount of the Reach. I'm like, Corlys, are you a fucking idiot? Like when did they make Corlys brain dead? Like, I just don't understand. Like he's established as like, yes, he is like a sailor and an adventurer and all this sort of stuff, but he built his, house himself. And like, you don't survive in this world, as we know from many, many different, examples. Like, you don't survive in this world and rise to the heights that he has without being politically savvy. And so Corlys just being like, I don't understand how the kingdoms work in this scene was insane to me. Like, I didn't understand what they were trying to do with Corlys with like the misunderstanding here. Like, it was very strange.
I don't know if he was supposed to be misunderstanding or if he was supposed to just like be having his own plot to like his own solution to propose, which is even stupider. I thought maybe for a while he was playing along to like escape, but then they just handed him over, and I'm like, oh, there's the plot cul-de-sac finishing. Gotcha. We're back at the exit. Gotcha. I also very much want to sit the showrunners down and be like, when you say the great houses won't accept her, can I please get a list?
Yeah.
Because first of all, they've only shown a handful of quote unquote great houses.
Right.
And plenty of them are on Rhaenyra's side. Most of Targaryen, Valerian, Arryn, the entire North.
Yeah.
Manderley, Mooten, the Riverlands, the Tullys. What are you talking about? Like that whole section, the only people we've heard against her are the Hightowers,
and the Lannisters.
And Lannisters.
Yeah.
And the reason that's happening in the show is because that's what happens in the books. One of the great tragedies of the books is that most of the country did support Rhaenyra. This was a political coup.
Yeah.
This was a coup by the Greens. This was not like a populist uprising against woman. We cannot have women. This was a political coup by the Greens by a minority of people. Most of the people liked Rhaenyra. And as far as we've seen on our screen right now, most of the great houses like Rhaenyra now. So what are we doing? What is happening? Yeah. I like the whole, and Corlys saying that too. I was like, is he just saying what he needs to say to get out of these chains? Like, is he like waiting? Is he like going to pretend to like go for some kind of, so he's going to pretend to broker some kind of peace, get released, and then get the fuck out of it? Like, is this like some kind of trick? And no, it wasn't. It was just, it was just like, what are you going to do?
Corlys does a number of things in this episode that really just like, took me out of the episode. But
their treatment of the Valerians this whole season has been absolutely diabolical,
brutal.
What a
waste.
It's
really crazy.
Yeah.
And that's not even accounting for the fact that we still haven't gotten an answer on Laenor.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Aemond hears flying, and I thought it was Vhagar.
I did too. Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. We're gonna finally figure out what's going on with Vhagar. Nope, that's not what's happening. Aegon is here on Sunfire.
And Aegon's here.
And what did you make of this interaction where Aegon confronts Aemond?
So this is all at this point show bananas that's happening. This is like I mentioned earlier in the book, Aegon after Rook's Rest is missing until the very tail end of the dance.
Right.
So it's hard. It's really hard to do analysis of the show when there's so much leading up to something that doesn't make sense, know? And I mean, I guess it's fine. I still don't understand why Aemond suddenly feels bad about kinslaying. Like what changed him? Just like almost being killed by mom changed him drastically, completely changed his character because of that. And Aegon being like, basically, I need you and your dragon to go do war is fine. But are we supposed to think that's a good thing? I don't know. I was mostly confused by this. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I just didn't like that. Like the confrontation occurring, to me, it just didn't have enough like it was being played too much for comedy, in my opinion. that undercut what should have been like a quite intense meeting. Because literally the last time that they saw each other, Aemond did try to kill Aegon. The other part that I was struggling with is that I'm like, Aegon's wounds have healed like remarkably over the last like little bit, where he looks kind of messed up now, but like not really. I mean, like it was a couple of months ago he like could barely walk.
Right. A couple of months is generous in terms of the timeline. It probably is less. Yeah.
Probably weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've just like kind of conveniently made him a little less messed up. What I didn't understand about this particular interaction is the fact that Aemond, the only thing stopping Aemond from kinslaying in this moment is his sudden reversal on the position of kinslaying, because nobody knows that Aegon is there.
Yep. Oh, that's a really good point. Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. He could have killed him
and no one would have known.
Yep.
Like, oh, what do you mean? Sunfire, like, Sunfire's alive? Like, that's crazy. And Aegon's alive? I haven't seen him. He had the opening to, like, assassinate.
It's really convenient that Aegon happened to land right after his brother had a complete change of heart. Oh, are you okay? Is your house being
like some kind of... My daughter is like freaking out, but
if you need to go, I can entertain.
Okay,
away if you need to.
I might just check on them. She's just like, it's abnormal for her to do this after she's fallen asleep. So
okay, I will answer questions in the chat.
I'll be back shortly.
Okay, I will not move on from this point, but I will answer questions in the chat. What's all this complaining about a book that's written by secondhand information from an unreliable source? George should have written a complete story. So I think I like Fire and Blood is one of those, is a book that is so rewarding to do a deep reading on, because I would submit for consideration. It is like brilliantly written in the fact that it is unreliable, but not in the basic way people tend to think. So people will kind of hand wave away anything in the show and be like, well, the book is unreliable. The book's unreliable, whatever. It's not that it's unreliable and like we don't know anything, or the Maester didn't know anything. It's that the Maester is very biased in his telling. So because he knows what ends up happening in history, and he's writing at a particular time when like a certain person is ruling, and he has to like maintain some of the Targaryen propaganda, but not be too cool about it because of the Baratheons and stuff like that. He's walking this very fine line. Plus, he has his own biases against women, against poor people, against anyone who isn't Westerosi, that come out in the way that he tells the story. So, what's fascinating to me in the text is that the Maester just very frequently just describes on page factually something that happens, but he completely misinterprets it. And he's like, therefore, it means this, where it's just like factually on page, not true. So one thing I keep citing to in the TV show is that Rhaenyra in the book is quite a good military commander. She's actually very good at doing battle, and a lot of the battles the Blacks do, they win. And that's because she's smart and strategic about her use of military force. So, for example, the Gullet is won by the Blacks. The Blacks win the Gullet. They lose Jace, one of the dragons, but one of the reasons they win the Gullet is because Rhaenyra sends 5 or 6 dragons to the battle. I think it's 6. She sends all these dragons to the battle because she's like, we're going to win this battle, and like we're going to win it hard. I'm not taking any chances. the Maester, when he writes it, focuses so much on the tragedy of Jason the dragon dying that he glosses over like the giant battle the Blacks just won. And there's a lot of stuff like that where the Maester is trying to make it sound like the Greens are making all this progress and that Rhaenyra is bad, when in fact that is not the case. By the time the Greens are in Tumbleton, for example, they end up after the first Battle of Tumbleton, which is we sort of got in the TV show. After the first Battle of Tumbleton, when the Greens are ensconced in Tumbleton, they end up staying there and not moving the army because they have no way to like march on King's Landing. So they're not actually doing anything while they're at Tumbleton, which then allows for Tumbleton 2 to occur, which we haven't yet gotten in the show, which we may or may not get. But the Maester treats it as like the Greens are somehow still like really in this fight. The Greens really almost lose at that point because that's kind of all they have left is Tumbleton. They have other characters live. Like, I actually also speculate that they'll have characters live like Laenor lived. I could actually see them doing something like that with some of the main characters. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. The lack of deaths this season of both people and dragons concerns me because I don't know how we do all the dragon death in the next season. Hey, I was just talking about the fact that nobody dies in this season.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
And then I said his last comment. Maegor approves of Rhaenyra killing the Faith. I'm sure the children of the forest are glad that False Religion is getting what's coming to it. They could have this thread about the Faith in the show could have been really interesting because of Targaryen's history with the Faith. Because Targaryens, like, particularly in Fire and Blood, it becomes kind of apparent. Like the Targaryens came to Westeros, like not really understanding how important the Faith was, and like kind of ignored it for a while. And then they like slowly picked up on the fact that like the people cared, and they started doing things like, we're going to have Kingsguard. There's going to be 7 Kingsguard.
Right.
There's going to be 7 gates to King's Landing. We're going to put up the star that has 7 points on it. Like they do like kind of the facial stuff where they're like, oh yeah, we're being anointed by this guy with the 7 oils. Do you get it?
Right.
And but the Targaryens never really fully embraced the Faith, and there's always tension between the Targaryens and the Faith, because the Faith is the only big thing that could really challenge the Targaryens because everybody believes it. So it becomes an issue. So anyway, everybody okay at the homestead?
Yeah, all good.
Did she wake up from a nightmare about this show? Because I have.
Yeah, exactly. She woke up screaming, Condal.
I woke up screaming, why does Ormond Hightower hate smells?
Right. So, yeah. Oh my God.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we sure will. Let's see. So yeah, I think Aemon not killing Aegon like just wasn't like at that point would yeah, like him showing up by himself, it's just like you could kill him if you wanted. Like, and I get they're like, oh, he's reformed and he's got his whole other thing going on and blah blah blah. But it's like he literally has murdered someone like every single episode.
Yeah.
Since he's been at Harrenhal. And so like, yeah. Anyways. And
this meeting of the brothers is really important. It's going to mean a lot this episode.
Yeah. It matters a ton. We get Daemon, the Daemon War Council where they say the realm is watching. Like he says, I'm not going to use the dragons because the realm is watching. And it's like, no, they literally are not.
No, you don't understand. The realm is watching because we're watching.
Right.
And Matt Smith almost looks directly at camera when he says that.
Yeah.
And he's like, the realm is watching. And I'm like, I get it, Ryan Condal. And we're the beetle. I know. I get it. The beetle, the watching. I know. You're so clever.
Yeah, we are the shit-eating beetle and the realm.
I would like, if I ever got to meet Ryan Condal and I could ask him one question, I would just like to ask him, like, can you describe to me what a narrative arc is? Like, can you define to me what is a narrative? That's all I want to know. That's it.
One of these interviews that he did at the end of the, like, for, you know, post the finale, he said that they had built out season 3 and 4 as like it's as one whole thing. And he said to make sure that the pacing is good. And I'm just like, you are a liar, sir.
Yeah, you are a liar.
The pacing has been insane.
Yeah, he is the menace Ryan Condal, and he knows nothing of pacing. He and pacing have not met.
No.
Yeah. They have not.
We go to the Great Sept, which Rhaenyra at one point I think called the Grand Sept in this episode, which I'm just like, that's not what it's called.
Is it the Sept of Remembrance, because it's the sept that was built after Queen Rhaenys was killed.
Right.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, it's right now because it's currently the Sept of Remembrance, but that things on the hills change.
Yeah.
Because like the Sept of Baelor isn't built yet because Baelor hasn't been king yet.
Right.
So this is I believe the Sept of Remembrance.
The Sept of Remembrance. And so yeah, they meet with the High Septon. He is like defiant again.
What was the plan? For whatever reason. Like, what was the plan going into this?
That's a great question, because like they didn't get his, like they were just like, let's just show up and then he'll do it.
Yeah.
Even though he said that he's not going to do it.
Yeah. Like, was the plan always to assassinate him?
It seems like it. Or like maybe if I show up like this, he'll feel compelled to do it and then he'll do it, or we'll kill him.
Right. Like, what was the backup plan? So I actually was wondering if they were going to lift something that Maegor the Cruel did. So Maegor, when he took over, was like, anoint me. And the High Septon was like, no. And Maegor's like, cool. So he beheads that one.
Right.
Picks a new one, like from the crowd, like picks another High Septon from like the regular Septons, like just picks, he's like, now you're the High Septon. Anoint me. And that guy also says no, and so he beheads him. And then by the third guy's like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna anoint you.
Yeah.
So I kind of was wondering if they were gonna do that. And I wouldn't necessarily have hated that if they had, because at least then something would have happened. Because she came all the way down all the way down off of the one hill and then up the other hill to get anointed, committed an assassination, and then did not get anointed.
Right. But like decides to make a speech.
Yeah. But at least she remembered that the Valyrians are of Valyrian descent.
Right. Yeah, she says to Alan, and this is a moment. So Alan is the one who kills the High Septon.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a departure for this character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like this moment of you are the blood of old Valyria, and him again being like ride or die for Rhaenyra. I guess I'm not quite sure why Alan is so all in. Aside from just like, maybe it is just straight up like, I can be the Lord of Driftmark.
I mean, if I believed more that he was like in love with Baela and he's like now become like really intertwined with the Dragon Riders because of that, if I believed that more, because if that had had more than 35 seconds of screen time,
right?
Maybe. But again, I wanted to know what the plan was. Like, did she tell him like, hey, we're going to go get me anointed, and if he won't anoint me, I need you to do some fucking Pope assassination.
Right.
You know, like it just feels like they don't talk about what they're going to do before they do it. And I don't know why. And it felt very, also like not for nothing, like the only thing historically that has genuinely challenged the Targaryens has been the faith.
Right.
So it's like, and Rhaenyra knows her histories, so she should know, like, it's more important to not kill the High Septon than it is to be anointed by him.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, it's definitely
like
yeah, in terms of impact.
Right.
Not killing him is more impactful, or is more positively impactful than being anointed.
Right, exactly. Like nobody was asking for you to be anointed. Nobody was
it's like
nobody's like, oh man, she's queen, but she hasn't been anointed by the 7 oils, so she's not really queen, said no one in King's Landing. So
it's like JD Vance was really concerned about the last pope liking him. Mm-hmm. But then he visited and killed the pope, and everybody was way more upset about him killing the pope than about him getting the pope's sign off.
Right, exactly. It's the whole thing is very bizarre. So they assassinate the pope, and then Rhaenyra comes outside, and this scene is a scene I would have normally been salivating over.
Sure.
If this had been a different television show.
Right.
If up until this point they had done what you were suggesting in terms of the zealotry of her becoming like getting really into this like old gods, I'm the prophecy, like if they had done that appropriately, the scene would have been baller, where she stands in front of the crowd and she starts telling them, I'm magic.
I'm magic.
I am destined to rule because I'm magic. Because sorry, if we had built up that her prophecy poison brain was just getting worse and worse and worse, and then she comes and assassinates the High Septon, and then she comes outside and she's like, it's okay because I am the magical answer to all of your problems.
Right.
It would have landed as like, oh my God, she's crazy. She's crazy. One thing we were missing in this scene is that she starts to talk about being magic, and I was waiting for the shots of the crowd looking at each other going like, huh? You know, doing one of those like, but we didn't get them.
This is the thing.
We didn't get them. So I'm like, so are the people down? Are the people like, yes, Targaryen prophecy tracks 100%. Because if the people were like, what did she say? Where's the High Septon? Whose blood is trickling down the stairs?
Yeah.
You know, that would have been more interesting than what we got. So
that's what was weird to me. Like this felt very much like I felt like I was in an unreleased Shakespeare play about Joan of Arc or whatever, where like, because it felt like a speech from one of those like historical Shakespeare plays of like, this is Henry III or whatever, like giving a rousing speech to his army or whatever.
Yes, it did.
Where it was a soliloquy. Like it was, there was no input from anybody. And it was very strange to me that like, oh, she is giving this speech to a crowd,
and there was not even like a little rabble.
There was no reaction from the crowd, like not applause, not cheering, not jeering, not oohs and ahs, not what the fuck is she talking about, not like nothing. Because what would have really been interesting in this is she delivers this speech and then there's silence, and then someone literally is just like, oi, where's the High Septon?
Yeah.
to undercut the fact that like you have not read the room, right? Like Rhaenyra, you are operating at this like other shit, and no one here cares about some doomsday prophecy in the far north, right? Like these people need food,
right? And even if someone in the crowd, even if there had been like whispers in the crowd being like, this is blasphemy,
right? Like any sort of reaction that sets up, I think to me it felt like, okay, they give Rhaenyra this like big speech, right? And they allow it to land in a there is no reaction. So whatever way they decide to take the reaction of the crowd is now they have left all options available to themselves, right? Like,
which is silly.
of like, unless it was just you're supposed to take the lack of applause as their reaction, but to me, like it cut relatively quickly after she finishes the speech. So like I didn't think that there was a adequate time to take in a crowd reaction aside from they're not like cheering throughout the speech.
Yeah, I think we needed like facial reactions, especially.
Yeah,
like we needed people like even like minor kind of like looking at each other like sideways, like are you hearing this shit?
Because they cut to the crowd a couple of times and it seemed like they were just staring blankly.
They're just staring. They're just staring in extra. They're like, I'm an extra. The other thing is like, if the crowd was not cool about it, her getting back to the Red Keep is literally impossible.
That's what I'm saying. And like, there's
really impossible.
And there are like scenes like that in the main series, right? Like, and in the Bad Show, even there is the scene in, I want to say season one.
Season one, yeah. When they're on their way back from the docks, from having sent Marcella away, because she's literally just in a litter being carried by dudes, and like, you know, if this had been something that then like they had finished out this bit and it had been on her way back, rabble, 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 the crowd goes wild. But once they realize the High Septon is dead, they attack. And like maybe Syrax swoops in and they get and she survives, you know, whatever. Like
Dragon. And Syrax burns a bunch of people.
And Syrax can do some violence. Yeah, that'd be great.
Right? Like
that would be like,
because again, just giving more impetus to future events. Like
right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
See, I love that idea of the dragon being used throughout King's Landing. But instead, I guess she just gets back.
And it is really crazy that Rhaenyra has now told essentially everybody the prophecy.
Yeah.
This has been a secret for the whole time before this.
Yep.
Right. Over 100 years since the conquest. It's been a complete secret.
She said, I keep telling my kids about this and they keep dying. So let me just make sure everybody knows. So that like the prophecy
I'm doing
will
a blanket, everybody knows about it, and then that way it's passed on. I've made sure. Yeah, so then we get well, there have been a couple of scenes hinting at the fact that they can't find Ulf and in Tumbleton, and Ormond is stomping around looking for Ulf for like the whole first part of this episode. So so then we get to Tumbleton. And outside of Tumbleton, Roddy Dustin and the other Northmen are doing some weird Viking hype stuff. Getting ready, and they again cut to the kids on the walls of Tumbleton. I don't know how this helps Ormond in any way. Ormond is told that Gwaine and Darren tried to cut a peace deal. His reaction is like shock, betrayal, and anger, but his action is nothing. His action is find Ulf. Yeah. His action is I'm looking for Ulf. I don't care about that. Yeah.
I do want to point out something. I think it's important characterization for Daemon is that their original plan is that Caraxes was going to just burn like the front gate pretty much, and the troops were going to go in that way. And once they realize there's kids on the wall, he's like, fuck. All right, fine. He's like, Roddy, bud, can your Winter Wolves take the walls and like do like open the gate from the inside so I don't have to like do the whole burn the battlements thing? Like, no problem, bro. And then they do that and it works. So like Daemon is like confronted with the concept of killing a bunch of kids and he's like, no, I'm not going to kill a bunch of kids. Now, is that because he learned from killing that one child that he assassinated that one time that didn't go over well? Or is that because he's just like, I don't want this to be a PR nightmare for Rhaenyra because a bunch of kids die? I don't know. But for whatever reason, Daemon has decided we're not killing children this time. So I just think that's an important characterization. I'm not sure what it means, but I think it's important.
Yeah, the like charge on the walls happens. They show Black Aly firing arrows from horseback and taking down people. They still don't bother to say who she is or
They do also do a little character assassination of her, because during the pre-planning, Daemon is like, he's basically telling them to behave themselves in the city, like don't like kill high towers, like go for that, but like don't like ravage the rest of the city. And they gave the line to Black Aly for her to say, that doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm sorry. What he's telling his troops is to like don't do unnecessary violence, including like sexual violence. That's one of the things he's trying to prevent.
Right.
And we don't see any. I mean, God bless the show for this. We actually don't see any sexual violence in Templeton.
Yeah.
So like he's telling his troops,
not traditional, anyways.
Right. Well, they're. Oh, I guess. Okay, yeah, true. We'll get there.
The Ormond of it all.
We'll get there. I tried to forget about that.
No, I know. Me too.
Yeah. So Black Aly's like, that doesn't sound like fun. Like, what?
Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck?
Are you trying to kill kids? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Black Aly's like, damn, I came here for all the child murder. What's going on?
Yeah. But yeah, so I was like, Black Aly is still in the show, apparently. Mm-hmm. They still can't find Ulf through the beginning of this attack as so Daemon's army is seizing the city.
Yep.
They are up on the walls. Hugh is actively disobeying orders. He lands Vermithor and charges into the city with Daemon. And Daemon is like, this is fine.
Yeah,
like he says, why is he doing that? And then is like, okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't care that they can't find Ulf. Right. Like just doesn't react to that in any way, where the easiest thing to do would be to like get on Caraxes and go find Silverwing and be like, where the fuck is he? Go find me. Whatever. Doesn't think anything of it. Doesn't think maybe there's a problem that one of his dragon riders is just MIA. And then he does end up getting on Caraxes to break down the gate. The kids stand in front of the gate. He's like trying to get them to move, but then
they do ultimately all move. If you watch closely, he does.
Yeah, it was weird because I think they want you to think that Daemon did kill 2 of the kids, but like they move.
Run out of the way. Yeah, but it's really cute because he does that parent thing of like move.
Yeah,
he's like on the truck and he's like move out the way, like that. That's like when like your mom's trying to take a picture of something and you're in the way, and she's like, "Sweetie, move out of the way, move." So it was so bizarrely normal to do on top of a dragon.
So from this moment, there is a sequence of things that happen that are truly some of the stupidest things that I've seen in the show. Unfortunately, Caraxes burns the gate.
Yep.
Caraxes' long neck busts through the gate.
Yeah.
He roars at the archers and ballista that they have set up just inside the gate.
Yeah, good idea.
They are well within burning range.
Yeah.
He withdraws his head. Daemon dismounts from Caraxes and gets on a horse. What? What? Why is he getting off of the dragon to get on a horse? And he rides a horse in, and all of those archers and ballista fire on him immediately.
Yeah, he rides his horse 15 feet, and the horse is immediately a fucking pincushion.
That was insane. Like I was like, why? Number one, why does Caraxes not burn all of those people right inside the gate? Like that.
Right.
That is like, that was insane.
Yeah.
Secondly, Daemon dismounting his dragon to mount a horse. It's just really the craziest shit. Like because even being that Daemon wants to be in the thick of things and all of that, like there is a lot to be said about a commander on a battlefield getting a view of things from a safe distance, like in the air, right? Like, so it could give him a very good ability to understand what's going on and put himself at the place that needs him the most, right? Like, but instead he gets on horse so that he can be confused for the rest of the battle.
Yep.
And not know what's going on. Because him being on Caraxes would basically take what happens would not be possible, right? So they have to put Daemon on the ground which Daemon isn't even at Templeton, if I'm not mistaken, because this is when he's with Nettles in the Riverlands. Like, is this not like?
Yeah, Damon is not either Tumbleton in the book.
Yeah.
He's never.
So like this is all anyways. So they're having to like figure out how to make Damon not impactful at Tumbleton because he doesn't actually do anything at he's not at Tumbleton in the books. Let's see. Ormond finds Ulf.
Yeah. He's in an outhouse basically.
And this like sends Ormond over the edge. He reveals himself to Ulf as the same as everybody else because he's like, you fucking idiot, you drunken sot, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't deserve anything. I should, like all this sort of stuff. So drunk Ulf then, so he tells Ulf to go get his fucking dragon and get in the battle and fuck you. Damon stumbles upon bold John Roxton, and they have like a boss battle in the streets of Tumbleton.
Is that Bullcut guy?
That is Bullcut guy.
Okay. Bullcut guy. Bullcut Roxton.
Bullcut guy has more context and more like impetus to his actions than basically any character in the series at this point.
Well, he's the only one that it was not on my bingo card that someone this season would remember the murder of Jaehaerys. And I certainly didn't think it would be Bullcut guy. Because he calls him, he's like baby killer. And I'm like, oh, right, yes. He did. He did kill that babe. He did do that. You are correct. No one else remembered.
They also make John Roxton like a fucking badass, where he is like, to put it kindly, like rocking Damon shit for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And no mention of his Valyrian steel sword. Canonically in the books, he has a Valyrian steel sword called Orphan Maker.
Orphan Maker. Yes, you're right. He does.
And I've always thought that the show has missed a bit of a trick, and I don't know if it's because they're trying to keep it as a grounded, realistic show. I've always thought that when Valyrian steel like swords hit each other, they should be doing some wild shit in the sound effects.
They should. Department. There should be some kind of like shing, like a
it should be anime. Like it should sound like an anime battle.
It should.
Of like the sword like whistling through the air and the ice like
like the sound like a sound like ice.
That very thin high sound. Like they should be doing some wild like they should let the Foley artist cook more with that, because I think it was just it's just a missed opportunity to be like, because I think a lot of show only people would be like, oh shit, like this guy's super
he also has Valyrian steel.
Yeah.
Like Damon pulls out it. Like Damon's just rocked all these people, and he comes up on this guy. He pulls out Dark Sister, and he swings and hits the other sword, and it does the like, and it's like, oh shit, like this is for serious,
And so they're dueling. That's all going on, and then we cut to Darren and Gwaine with Tessarion.
Yeah, and Darren says, I have to get on this dragon and do battle. And Gwaine says, no, that's Tumbleton too. You can't do that
now. There's a whole nother season.
Yeah, we can't afford to put another dragon in the sky on this episode.
Yeah. Best I can do is Chained Up Dragon.
Yeah.
So I thought that this was gonna be I was under the impression that like, oh, Darren is gonna go like do something.
Yeah. Silly you thinking a character would do something in this show.
And I wanted to use this opportunity to be like, Darren's story in season 3. Why did that happen? Like they did all this like stuff with Ormond being like an abusive dick to Darren, and basically exploiting him and like making him his sort of like trying to rule by proxy via Darren's legitimacy, right? Like trying to use like the name, even though he hates Targaryens, and
this is Bush and Gore, yeah. Not
so,
Gore, sorry, Bush and Cheney, Bush and Cheney.
Right? Where like he's trying. So Ormond, they're setting all this stuff up, and then the last scene of Darren in the season is him basically choosing to like peace out.
Yeah.
And there's no defiance of Ormond, no, like they just never brought any of that to a head. We got and I think I skipped over it, but we got Ormond, the last interaction that they have is Ormond knighting Darren.
Yeah. And knighting him wrong, by the way.
Yeah, I mean that was crazy. He went all over the map with that.
You think if they were going to play up this whole faith thing, which would have been if they had done it properly, been more interesting. They could have played up the fact that the High Towers are very, very close with the Sept,
right?
With the Starry Sept, and Ormond doing the whole faith of the actual knighting ceremony would have driven that home. Alas, we didn't get the show that was promised. The Daeron thing did feel very. It felt very set up for next season, and I'm like, you shouldn't be writing whole story arcs that take up so much of my screen time,
right?
For next season, like you got to give me payoff now, and just write it so that it can also continue to next season when you know it's going to continue. But yeah, I agree. There should have been something. Daeron should have been on that dragon. He should have been maybe trying to. Maybe like the battle starts and he tries to command the army to surrender, and then Ormond says no, don't, and there's like some internal struggle, like that, something other than.
And he leaves, like Darren choosing to leave. Should have also. I feel like we should have gotten Ormond recognizing that Tessarion is leaving.
Yeah, just a shot of looking up and seeing Tessarion
that like abandonment of like. He tried to sue for peace behind my back, and now he's leaving me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like he's defying me, and him dying knowing that Darren like wasn't his puppet or whatever, like because he has a dragon.
Yeah.
And he's more powerful than, Ormond allowed him to be or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought it was a bit strange because like, I don't, it's one of those things where like you got to set stuff up, but at the same time, like the way that they positioned Ormond in the season, the fact that there was no moment between Darren and Ormond of true defiance and stuff like that, and the last moment they get together is actually Ormond like doing a sort of like fatherly thing, like a father figure thing by knighting Darren. Like that to me was, it just didn't resonate with how the story played out. And like Darren, every time he's had a chance to talk to Gwaine privately, he's been talking about what a monster Ormond is. And then there was that never came back around. Like, and he never said it to Ormond. So I just thought that was just felt unfulfilled. And now, Ormond is dead. So
so it can never be fulfilled.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like even if it was like, hey, we're just setting it up for next season. It's like, okay, well, that guy doesn't.
You can't. Yeah, it's done now. It can't be set up for next season. Yeah, exactly.
So, So yeah, he apparently leaves, I guess, is what we're supposed to take from that.
We don't. I mean, they could always next season just be like, just kidding, he died in Tumbleton. If they could just, if they don't want to pay for the actor, they could.
He didn't make it. Tessarion was caught by Silverwing on his way out. Like,
right? Yeah, just this much happened on the side. Can I actually let's keep going because I want to talk about Ulf, but let's get the whole story out.
Well, so that's actually where we're going. So Ulf gets from inside of Tumbleton to Silverwing, who is well outside the walls of Tumbleton.
Yep.
With a whole army in between him and Silverwing. With an escort of 2 guys. And he doesn't encounter
more
anyone.
more guys than Allison took to Harrenhal. So, you know.
But like, wouldn't this have made a lot more sense to be like, for Ulf to try to play up the fact that like he stumbles into the first line of Riverland soldiers outside the walls. Like he sneaks his way, and then he's outside the walls, and he's like, I need to get to my fucking dragon. And they're like, get the dragon rider to his dragon.
Yeah,
like, because they don't know that he's betrayed. Like traveling around with Hightower guards should have been a one-way ticket to you know, death. Because the first Riverlanders they bumped into would have killed them. Of the, you know, tens of thousands that are there. So yeah, that was just very weird. But he gets to Silverwing and then proceeds to demonstrate like the best control of a dragon that we've seen in the show. Silverwing does exactly what Ulf wants at all times.
Yeah, all by herself. No Vermithor there.
Yes.
Yep.
And isn't concerned that Vermithor is literally like in the shot. Like Vermithor's like seeing all this go down and does nothing.
He's like, sweetie, what are you doing? What's happening? Sweetie, honey, it's gonna
We're
be
married,
you don't,
remember.
Honey, you don't have to. Honey, I know they're shooting you with that. He's just watching her.
Yep.
So I can talk about it here, I guess. So one of the things that I think is really apparent on page in Fire and Blood is that Ulf is not happy about being a dragon rider. That Hugh Hammer, who rides Vermithor, is like fucking sweet. I have Vermithor. This is great. He like, there's like concerns about him trying to take over politically, stuff like that. Ulf is also just kind of like, and also Ulf was there. Right. The story of Ulf in first Tumbleton or second Tumbleton? Okay, no. So they kind of combined Ulf's stories in first and second Tumbleton. In first Tumbleton, I don't know if this is a spoiler technically because now we've done Tumbleton and they've clearly adapted it differently, but the way it is in the book is that at first Tumbleton, both dragon riders, both bastards betray and turn on the blacks.
Right.
So what's important about that is that Vermithor is there also doing the burning of the city and Silverwing is following. At second Tumbleton, Ulf does not participate because he's so drunk he slept through it.
Right.
And my interpretation of the books from the various things that are described about Ulf is that, first of all, no, he didn't. He wasn't so drunk that he slept through the entire second sacking of Tumbleton. He was afraid of doing things with the dragon and was never able to do anything with Silverwing without Vermithor present. So I actually think Ulf is a really good example of someone who probably can't really control that dragon very well. And like Silverwing is basically just following Vermithor and doing what Vermithor is doing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things where they now show him in the TV show, like you said, having like immaculate control of this dragon.
Even though he's shit-faced, like he's stumbling, like staggering drunk.
Yeah, more drunk dragon driving.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's fine, but it's taking the text at face value that like, oh, he's just a drunk, and you know he's bad because he's both a small folk and a drunk. Not, you know, he was involved in the books. He was at the Battle of the Gullet. That was his first. He's not a soldier. He was made a dragon seed like 2 days before that.
Right.
He's sent to this really intense battle. His drinking gets worse after that, probably because he's traumatized from that experience.
Yes.
And he never does anything without Hugh and Vermithor present. And I don't even know that Ulf was capable of controlling Silverwing in the books. I don't know if it's just that Vermithor, like Hugh and Vermithor turned, and Silverwing followed automatically. You know, there's quite a lot of evidence in the book that that's the situation. So the choice to adapt it more at face value, I think, again, it just makes me wonder, like how closely they read the book, where they stand on dragon magic anyway, because their understanding of dragon magic is. So you're telling me Daemon has had trouble controlling Caraxes. Aemond has had trouble controlling Vhagar. We have, Rhaenyra has trouble controlling. Like, we have all these examples of people having difficulty controlling their dragons. But this guy,
yeah, he's
got it.
No difficulties.
Fucking got it. No problems.
And it's funny that you mentioned the small folk thing, because the show tried to do the whole like they are treating him like shit, like Daemon and others are treating him like shit because he is a peasant, right? But this episode, they kind of do a like, and they're right, because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like because they do this with Rhaenyra too, where it's like, yeah, they don't want her to rule because she's a woman and because she sucks at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at her sucking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're right not to want her because she sucks. And it's like kind of the same thing with Ulf, where it's like they don't trust him because he's a small folk, and they shouldn't have, because he is a small folk and he got offended and had to burn everybody because he got yelled at by a lord or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if this is exactly like, I don't think this is the message that is trying to be sent. Like, I was fine when it was like, hey, Ormond bought off Ulf, right? Like Rhaenyra has failed to like give them anything material.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs his material conditions to improve because he is a poor person, like who has struggled to survive his whole life. And then like he was promised by Ormond that his material conditions would improve. I think that was enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, so the problem was that they wanted him to kill Ormond. And so this episode, they needed to give him a reason to do that. They used the Battle of Second Tumbleton of he's too drunk and misses the battle as a way for Ormond to get pissed off at him and flip out, so that when he kills Ormond, it's fine.
Right.
When it could have been as simple as like he overhears Ormond, like he comes into the room as Ormond is like, I'm not giving him shit.
Ooh, yes.
Right? Like I'm not.
Yes.
No, I'm lying. Because like, did I overhear you promise him, Driftmark? He's like, as if that drunken sot would get Driftmark, blah, blah, blah. Right? Like,
as if he could point out Driftmark on a map.
Yeah. Can you imagine if I elevated a peasant? Like, that's laughable, and he like walks into the room like, and then is like, fuck you. Like, I'm not, I don't fight on anybody's side. The question that this story now leaves me with, though, is Ulf betrayed both sides of this war. Where's he gonna go?
Well, slight spoilers for the book for the next like 15 seconds, my friends. If you want to skip it, just press forward a little bit. Like, I'll give you 3, 2, 1, spoiler time. Silverwing survives the dance.
Yes.
So, and we don't know where she is. She just flies away.
Right.
So they have actually quite a lot of leeway with what they can do with her because she's not a known dead dragon. I just think
it would be crazy if they're like, and Ulf just flew away and like we just don't. And that's it.
I'm curious what they're going to do with Hugh, because now Hugh has the motivation of Hugh runs into the city. LOL, his wife died somehow. I don't know. She's in her house. She's dead.
Yeah, she's dead.
And I'm like,
I called her Cat Hammer.
Cat Hammer.
That's now his surname. Yeah. So
that's really funny. So, because I wonder if they're going to have Hugh also turn at some point. That could have been set up if he had been like they almost set it up, right? Because he says to Rhaenyra, like, I need like a manse in King's Landing, like ASAP to like move my family in. And Rhaenyra's like, yeah, we're gonna find your house, we're gonna find, and she like blows him off. If he had gone to Tumbleton and talked to Cat and been like, we gotta go, and she was like, oh sweet, you have a house for us in King's Landing? And he was like, oh yikes, not quite
exactly.
Not quite yet. And if she was like, okay, listen, like get things set up, and when you're ready, like come get me.
Right.
And then this happens. then he could be nice and mad at Rhaenyra. Right. But as it stands, she's the consequences of the Greens, not the Blacks' actions.
Right.
So
if Hugh blames like Team Black, then it's just purely like it's
just contrivance at that, but he's gonna prediction now in 3 years.
Like if you had
whoever is gonna blame the Blacks.
If you hadn't if you hadn't attacked the town which the enemy army who is trying to usurp your throne was in, then my wife would still be alive. And it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is some crazy shit that's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, yeah. There was also this point where so the Jon Roxton Daemon brawl is still going on. As Ulf is beginning to burn Tumbleton, and right before they get separated by burning debris, which is like, I was like, season 8, like how I missed the.
Oh wait, can I tell you the funny thing I was thinking? Oh wait, you finish first, so they get separated.
Well, so I was just gonna say that Jon Roxton begins to gouge Aemon's Freudian slip, Daemon's eye, and I literally wrote Daemon one eye ? Because I'm like, are they going to literally do the like, do you see that they're parallel characters? Like,
do you get it? Do you fucking get it?
They're both wearing eye patches at the God's eye.
What's great about that scene is that like he really does deeply like start to gouge his eye, and the next scene, Daemon's eye is totally fine.
It's fine, yeah.
It's like not even a little red.
I was like, oh, I guess not.
You're okay. So wait, can I tell you about the falling rubble? Okay.
Yes.
Do you remember at the end of the Bad Show when Jaime and Cersei die because that like one particular area of ceiling falls on them?
Yes. I literally was like, the rubble falling was like, this is Jaime and Cersei's death.
I don't know which sections of the internet.
It would kill a lesser couple.
I don't know what corners of the internet you were on at the time. But the corner of the internet I was on Tumblr when that happened, we all used to joke that, Jaime and Cersei are supposed to be killed, or Cersei's supposed to be killed by the Valonqar, right? The little brother, the prophecy. And so we all joked that the rubble was the Valonqar.
Yeah, exactly.
So when the rubble fell next to Daemon, I'm like, oh my God, the Valonqar! At any time there's rubble falling like that, I'm like, the Valonqar prophecy is coming true.
And out of that we get well, I guess I'll wait on that. We get this. So there's a couple of scenes. I skipped over the first couple, but the Winter Wolves, they get into the city, and there's this moment where Roddy Dustin is with his small little group of Winter Wolves, and he's like, we made it into the city and we're still alive. And everybody that he's with goes, "Aww." And I was like, that like that pissed me off, because like I get the whole like the Winter Wolves are, we're here to die for the Dragon Queen, and they are like literally sent down because they are extra mouths to feed, and with winter coming, like that is a practice in the north of you send your grizzled warriors down to die in the war rather than have to eat your food back home. And this show had a character who was examining like the pointlessness of everything and like what it means to want to die and like all of this stuff in Kristen Cole.
What? A character from 2 episodes ago? Whoa.
And I don't think like, I just think it's weird that they gave him this like deep introspection and existentialism of like, oh, Kristen Cole is like such a tortured character, like with this or whatever. And then they're like, these old guys can't wait to die. Like
they said, don't you like our comic relief suicide pact? Hey!
Yeah. And it was like, wait, why aren't they exploring the fact that like the North has this practice? Like there is something really interesting about the cultural tradition of your old people being expendable in the interest of like, or your old people volunteering to like sacrifice themselves in the interest of allowing the rest of their families to have enough food and all of that stuff. It's like,
it's quite noble too,
right?
To say like, I am going to sacrifice my safety for the safety of others. Like whatever context that's in this case, it being, I'm older, I've lived my life, I'm going to do this so that the younger people can live. A similar thing happened in Japan when it came to cleaning up like nuclear waste after there was like that tsunami that like ruined a bunch of nuclear reactors.
Oh yeah.
The people that volunteered to clean it up were all older people. And they said that they're like, it's okay if I get exposed to nuclear waste. Like I'm dying anyhow. I don't want the young people to be exposed. And it's like, it's quite a noble pursuit to say that, to be able to recognize that. And it reflects a lot about the Northern culture and the tight knittedness of the North, which, fucking matters, but God forbid Ryan Condal knows something.
And they're so tight knit in this show that they're all just wearing and carrying Stark banners, and they're not from any other houses.
So we don't the audience doesn't know. The audience doesn't know. They're all Starks, every single one.
So then we get Roddy Dustin chases down Ormond, and we get a scene that I described in my notes as just Ormond's death - what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because this scene
what didn't you like about him being I guess impaled up his rectum? What about that did you not like?
I just it was just really I like this really reminded me of some of the parts that I really hated about the Bad Show.
Yeah.
And I had someone try to tell me in my comment section today, because I made a video that included like some stuff about this, of like the way that the nature of his death is like so unnecessary, and in a show that has already depicted like had like a lot of depictions of sexual assault, and lived in this sort of like the idea that even a villain, right, is like forcibly just like violated in that way, and then for a character to double down on that and make like a joke about it.
Yeah, what does he say? I forget.
He says, now that's a proper fucking from the North, which is just like so like, so I had people in my comment section try to say like, well, there's all types of like crass things said in like really dark humor and all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, in the books, like George writes sort of like these like grim lines, or like people say wild fucked up shit, and it's like, and like he didn't write this,
this is not one of them.
So like
this was not one of them,
and nothing like this really, like there's like all kinds of like wild threats said by people in the books, and I had a line that like I won't repeat here just because it's like it is really crazy, but someone is yelling it before the battle to get people to fight hard during the battle. He doesn't actually do the thing that he is threatening, and it doesn't happen. Crucially, it is like ghoulish overkill in the interest of like telling his army to fight, hard or whatever. This to me was like such a specific choice by the show, and like deeply unnecessary, and I would argue like doesn't do the like, for people who have been like, why are they doing all of this like sexual violence in this season? It doesn't do them a lot of favors in terms of being like, oh, this was all done in good faith, because this was done purely for somebody's, like, someone thought that this was like a satisfying and like fitting way for Ormond to die, and a fitting last words for Roddy Dustin as well.
It was also done as a joke.
Right. And that's like, which is crazy.
You should not be making it that kind of joke. I was wondering if you caught this. There's a point early in the episode where Roddy Dustin makes an offhanded comment about Ormond or the Hightowers, it's sort of unclear from the context, being boy touchers. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He's like, let's go kill those boy touchers or whatever, or these boy touchers. And then he, sodomizes him to death and says, like, that's a proper fucking from the North. And I'm like, is there an implication, or I wonder if there was like a story on the writings on the editing floor that like there was an implication that like Ormond Hightower was like a pedophile? But this is the only indication of it. Right. This is the only indication of it.
And like, how would a random person from the North, even if that was going around, like, how does Roddy Dustin possibly know that?
I mean, I kind of wondered when they first introduced Ormond and Daeron if there was going to be rumors, because here's Ormond, who's like related to him, but like keeping this young, beautiful boy like very, very close to him. And like those kind, like Westeros has like those kind of rumors do circulate when that kind of thing happens. Yeah. Even if just as like a slander, right? So I kind of wondered if that was the reference, but that wasn't played out enough. But even if it was, if it was, I don't know if this was the same characterization as who was that, the bad guy in Game of Thrones who was the pedophile that Arya kills really bad. I forget his name. Meryn Trant. Meryn Trant in the book, in the show rather, not the books. If they had characterized Ormond that way, like, would that kind of death have had at least some kind of meaning? Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
But like, where are we on the meaning and gratuity scale?
Yeah.
Like, I agree with you. It wasn't funny.
No, definitely not funny.
Like, it's not funny.
And they did the whole, like, he chops off Roddy Dustin's arm and like the blood splatter gets on his face. So he gets sick. So that like throws him off.
So this is a whole separate issue. The whole smell thing for Ormond Hightower, I think, has made no fucking sense. This man is a soldier who has marched with and fought on these battlefields before. If he was this sensitive to like being grossed out, he wouldn't be able to be a soldier.
No.
Like, if they wanted to give that characterization to somebody who like therefore had a hard time being a soldier, like, I don't know, a good guy like Samwell Tarly who has that problem, like, it's then like a hindrance to him being a soldier because he can't stand blood, guts, and gore.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense for Ormond Hightower to have this particular phobia. And the payoff for that phobia is exactly what you're saying. He gets splattered with blood, which happens when you're hacking people up with swords.
Yeah.
And that like throws him off for a beat so he can get stabbed to death.
Yeah. And then
Meaning.
Ulf also flies over on Silverwing and burns them both.
Right. Yeah.
While audibly saying "and fuck you too" or something like that, which was that was just very strange. So yeah, Ormond is dead. The antagonist of the season and all of these things. I also had people say, because I made a video about the fact that like I'll use this to talk about other stuff is Roddy Dustin kills Ormond in the show. Roddy Dustin kills Ormond in the books. That is like who it's attributed to. I made a video about the fact that like within the show, I don't think that it makes any sense that Roddy is the one to kill him without there being some other stuff going on with Darren or Gwaine, right? Like there should have been some involvement or some catharsis for either of them before Ormond was killed. Even if it is ultimately by Roddy Dustin, like there should have been some resolution to the arc. But the thing is that there are people who are like, well, that's what happens in the books. And I'm like, listen, in this show, when have you ever found it happens in the books to be a reason that they've done anything?
Right.
Like, yeah, I want the shit that happens in the books to happen in the show too. I have not had that wish granted very often.
Right, exactly.
Like, so this is not what, like, and this is where, to me, when something happens and the only real argument for it is that it happens in the book, but it's devoid of the context or setup or anything that exists in the book. Like the reason that it's Roddy Dustin in the book is because we have been reading about a campaign through the Riverlands of these people fighting battle after battle after battle after battle. And Tumbleton is like the end of this long and grueling and bloody and horrifying campaign through the Riverlands, with, you know, significant losses on both sides. And like, but we have these actual characters that are fleshed out, like Forrest and Sabbatha Frey and Black Alley and Roddy Dustin and the Tullys and Benji Blackwood and like all of the, so we have like all of these characters that you're also like, okay, and now what are they doing or whatever, right? In this show, Roddy Dustin was introduced as like, we've come to die for the Dragon Queen. Then he's in one scene with Oscar Tully. He sings songs with Damon. They get their camp burned or whatever. He has not been characterized outside of he's a loud northern guy.
Yep. He's funny. Look how funny.
Exactly. And so like, so to me, like, yeah, if you like, I don't mind them giving stuff to like giving things that happen in the books or whatever. But when it's done with none of the actual stuff that happens in the books outside of, oh, this event now happens, to me it feels fan servicey and like they're cherry picking when they get to say, oh, well, this is canon, right? Because they also get to say, oh, well, it's a flawed history and like we don't know exactly what happened and we get to do whatever the fuck we want. So to me, like when people are like, well, that's what happens in the books, I'm like, well, yeah. And like none of the battles we got, you know, we got 3 minutes of the Butcher's Ball out of the whole Riverlands campaign. And we got a song about the fish feed. Like,
but also like, oh, Roddy Dustin kills him in the books. Like, okay, in the books, the blacks are holding Tumbleton when the Greens attack and when Roddy Dustin kills one of them.
Right.
So where are we?
Yeah. So there's just, to me, like, and this has happened a few times where they're like, you know, I talked about it in the past where it's like, oh, like they showed them like playing Cyvass or whatever. And I'm like, this is like the Marvelification of A Song of Ice and Fire, where it's like, they said a guy or like they said a thing. And it's like, yeah, that isn't why, like, that's not what I care about in the adaptation. I don't care about you being like, oh, do you remember this thing?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, look at these dragon eggs at Harrenhal.
Exactly. I want this shit to actually matter and have like narrative purpose in the story. And so giving Roddy Dustin that kill just because that's what happens in the books when narratively it doesn't actually, like, there's no payoff to anything that's happened.
Well,
it's also played for comedy. Like none of what they did made it like a satisfying end for either this character that they've introduced who is a minor character, you know, a minor like sympathetic character, and a satisfying end to the main antagonist of this entire season.
I think you make a really good point that Ormond's demise should have been related to Gwaine and Daeron somehow.
Even if not directly, because I get there are people who are like, well, they wouldn't kinslay. And I'm like, okay, whatever. That hadn't mattered in the show up till literally this episode. So,
because like, even if like Gwaine and Daeron had like let the Winterwolves in the postern gate, if they had opened the gate and said this, like, or Ormond's that way, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fine. It's also weird that I thought it was weird that Roddy was like, I specifically need to find Ormond.
Right.
Like
I'm
in
why?
the book, they just encounter each other because they're in battle together, and they do. And somebody was going to encounter Ormond, and somebody was going to encounter him, and somebody was going to kill him, and it happens to be Roddy, and that's why it's in the history book. So
him going to seek him out when it's like they were fighting in two different theaters of the war, like because the Hightowers are fighting in the south and he's fighting in the Riverlands. Like they literally have no like until Tumbleton, there's no ability to grow animosity.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Like there's no, oh, I have a vendetta against this guy because he did X, Y, or Z. Like
this reminds me in the show, Ormond and Roddy reminds me of Lohar and Corlys from episode 1.
Like
where
they not like each other.
I was like, wow, I'm so glad we spent so much screen time resolving this interpersonal conflict that I've known about for 2 episodes for non-main characters that then die and then are never mentioned again.
Yep.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like they got distracted. I don't know. I don't know. They didn't take their Ritalin over in the writing room, and they were like, oh, this Roddy thing is going to be fucking baller. He's going to say this funny line while killing this guy, and that's
not disturbing at all.
And it's going to be kind of a gay joke, but it's okay. We like gay people because we have gay characters in the show, kind of.
Right. So we can can make jokes like that. We're
going to be so edgy, and it's going to be, the fans are going to laugh. And they're gonna say that's a fucking from the north, and that's the new phrase on all the merch.
The North fucks.
The North fucks. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh God. Really? What have we done?
Oh,
after the debris falls between him and John Roxton, we get Saving Private Damon, which is
Saving Private Damon. Oh my God, we do.
He's got the ringing in his ears and
the fog of war. Do you get it? The fog.
Yeah. You would think that his reaction. So there's a dragonfire explosion and rubble falling, and that is this. That is what Ormond feels when he smells something. It's the same level of reaction. Damon's almost crushed to death, and that's the same level of what Ormond is going through.
When Matt Smith stands up as Damon in that scene, he's looking around, peering around. I'm just imagining in Damon's head, he's like, "Oh fuck, this is gonna be a PR nightmare for Rhaenyra. Oh shit, what happened?"
and then he proceeds to he keeps fighting, and I just put in here that he's. After this, during this whole Saving Private Damon sequence, he's killing joylessly now instead of joyfully.
Yes.
All it did was rob him of the fun of killing. He's not really horrified. He sees all of these people who are dead and dying, civilians who are burned by dragonfire, and it's a horrific scene. And he is well, here I go killing again. Get
that killing machine back up and running.
It doesn't impact him at all. He just keeps fighting. And then Corlys appears out of nowhere. Oh, yes, these were the 2 scenes where Corlys, the 2 scenes where Corlys is CGI'd in, I'm convinced, is he's standing in the camp and he starts to see Ulf burn, Ulf starts burning the Riverlands armies, and he is standing among the Riverlands armies and goes his reaction.
I bet they only had that actor for a day to get all these scenes. They probably put him in the wig one time and they're 12-hour day. We're doing it all at once.
He's quickly. He's got his bandaged hand. And
you're going to look surprised. 3, 2, 1, action, go. Perfect. Done. Okay. Next scene.
It's did you think you were going to get away from the dragonfire with that? And then he just decides at that point, I need to get inside the gates of Tumbleton with no weapon and no armor, no nothing. I'm just going to go find Damon.
I need to pick up my chain.
Yeah.
And run with it.
And then shows up and it's just you got to get out of here. We lost. Which I was like, I don't know how they lost. Like,
right.
They fully had control of the walls and like most of the city. Like they had free reign of the city. They were winning the battle.
Yeah.
Ulf turns, yes, and burns plenty of soldiers. Like, I'm not taking away, like, yeah. But he also burns a lot of high towers.
Yeah.
In the city. And like, they're like, Ulf turned, we're losing, we got to get out of here. And I was like, I didn't get the sense that they were ever losing.
No, they shouldn't have been losing. They should have taken this.
And there's also 2 other dragons present. Like,
yeah, we get a shot of those 2 dragons like chasing Silverwing away.
But not during the period of time when Silverwing was actually burning people. Like, they do it after she's done. Well, this is after Silverwing did the burning.
This is the problem with switching who's there at First Tumbleton, because at First Tumbleton, the blacks are in Tumbleton. The greens successfully take it. So that battle, that siege is successful, and the greens take Tumbleton. They claim Tumbleton at that point. So now you have it in reverse. So the blacks at this point should be in control of Tumbleton. And the only way I could see them spinning it is like next season, it'll be like, well, the word is that Silverwing, who's the queen's dragon, attacks, like opened fire on Tumbleton.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll get blamed in that way. Like I could see them spinning it like that. But they should control Tumbleton. They should, at this point, the blacks should control Tumbleton.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was confused with that too. Quos is like, we've lost. And I'm like, no, you haven't.
Yeah. What? Like by what measure?
Right. like morally? I don't know.
Yeah. Like the Hightower, the Lord of the Hightower is dead. Right. Like also, I did put in here like how/why is Gwaine still alive?
He has outlived his book counterpart by quite a lot.
It's like not even good. Well, I guess basically it was the sacking of King's Landing. He dies, right? Like in when Rhaenyra takes King's Landing.
I mean, listen, good for him. He's a very handsome man. Good for him. He can.
And I don't actually I don't have an issue with anything that Gwaine has like gotten up to this season. Like
I actually liked the writing of Gwaine and Daeron. I think they're like, this is a buddy comedy I could watch like for a while. But,
totally.
Yeah.
I just don't know where they're going with him. Like, yeah, it's pretty strange. I thought they were gonna have him. I was thinking that in that scene with Daeron and Tessarion, I thought that Gwaine was going to have to hold off like an onslaught to allow Daeron to escape.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought he was going to sacrifice himself in the interest of letting him escape, but he apparently tested well enough to make it into season 4. So
that is part of the problem, isn't it? They are making decisions based on not wanting to get rid of certain actors.
Yeah, I mean they want these people in season 4. Like that was literally, I think, and I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but did The Last of Us season 2 inform HBO shows that you can't kill off like famous people because people will backlash against the show?
Yeah, possibly. But that's certainly possible.
Even if canon dictates that like that's what happens.
Yeah, and The Last of Us season 2 had the out of they could have simply included more flashbacks.
That was my whole thing is I'm like, you don't.
House the Dragon's a linear.
He's not actually dead.
Right. He's not dead in real life.
Like he can still be in the show.
Yeah. In House the Dragon is more of a linear story, so it's harder to do that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be like, oh, well, we have to keep this person alive, this character alive until next season because we like the actor. It's like,
right.
No, man, like the narrative is the narrative for a reason. Don't act like you're better at this than George R.R. Martin, one of the greatest writers of our lives.
Yeah.
Don't act that way. But we're almost done with the episode, I think. Does anything else happen at Tumbleton?
No, that's pretty much it. Because we already talked about Cat Hammer being dead. So
Cat Hammer is fantastic. I love that. Hashtag Cat Hammer.
The last thing that happens in the episode is we cut to Helena. Mm-hmm. She is in a room and she looks out the window and is like, I remember Tom and Baratheon.
Yeah, I remember. She's like, yeah, I recall watching season 7.
She has seen. She has seen.
Or season 6. The end of season 6.
Season 6. Yeah.
Yeah. She said, I get it.
This. So Helena. Well, we don't see exactly what happens, but she like looks out the window and then like.
Well, first she off screen, she opens the window, dramatically lays her tapestry across it, and then jumps.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
she jumps out the window. Rhaenyra comes back to the Red Keep and while still in her armor and everything, and like is ushered that way, I guess, or whatever. And this like the whole thing seemed a little bit strange to me because I'm like, how is Helena not on, like, they were literally force feeding her, like, how is she not on suicide watch? Like, I just don't get like how her windows still open, like
or how windows that high up in the keep open at all.
Yeah, I mean, why would you like give people that option?
Right, because like windows high up in like the courthouse I work in on like the 3rd floor don't open.
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
so
hotel windows don't open, right? Like,
yeah. Windows in dorms at schools, guess what they don't do? They don't open.
Yeah, or they're so small
that you can't.
Because that was my dorm. Was right. They opened, but they were so small that you couldn't possibly get out of them.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yeah. And so Rhaenyra like finds this scene of Helena's tapestry in which it's depicted that Helena has embroidered her own death. Yeah. And embroidered this whole thing of Rhaenyra on the Iron Throne looking all like fascistic apparently and bleeding.
Wait, the absolute monarch looks fascistic?
Right, where it's like
what?
Yeah. And she's like bleeding a bunch. It looked like
bleeding from the crown. Yeah, that the crown was, the blood was coming down. Yeah,
like down her whole body.
Can I gotta cook about the embroidery. Because I texted this to you. I was like, I have to.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I embroider. I love embroidery. Embroidery takes for fucking ever to embroider something like that. Like, this girl must have been planning her jump for weeks. For like since before like they found out she was back. It takes so long. I have exactly one costume. No, I have a few costumes I've done embroidery on, but I have one costume, my Weirwood Tree costume, which I don't know if I have that posted anywhere. I think it used to be on my Tumblr. But I did like the body. I was a tree. I was a Weirwood Tree. And the bodysuit I did. It was actually a really cool costume. I think it still fits even. I was a crazy person and I said it's a heart tree. I want to embroider a heart, like an anatomically correct-ish heart on the bodysuit, and it's like a heart tree, like it'll be cool.
Yeah.
It took me 6 months. 6 months of embroidering literally almost every day to finish it. 6 months. And now I certainly do not embroider as fast as Helena because it's the only thing she does, but it just is an art form that is meticulous. It's like paint by numbers. It just takes time. And the elaborate way in which it was embroidered, and God bless, because it looked hand embroidered, so it looks like somebody out there really did that embroidery. But the elaborate embroidery work of all of this, like this whole tapestry she's been working on, and we know she wasn't just working on her jumping scene because we've seen her in the previous episodes working on the other parts of it. So I'm like, I don't.
Someone like 2 months ago in World being like, what are you working on? And her being like, nothing.
Yeah. Seriously. I actually kind of want to, when I rewatch the show, which I think I will, unfortunately, I want to keep an eye on the embroidery scenes and see if we can see the formation of that section. Like, is it visible in previous scenes and we just didn't notice? You know?
Yeah.
Which is possible. Which would be kind of cool if someone thought about that hard enough to do that. But yeah, this is in my opinion, this is the biggest plot hole of the story, is Helena and her embroidery speed. Could not.
This is bigger than the teleportation, like fast travel.
Yeah. This is
like fast embroidery.
Yeah, this is my Nisa. She
so funny.
Just cannot be. This embroidery speed is just too fast.
That's so funny. No, like I thought so. We also get they cut to when Rhaenyra realizes like what's happened. They cut to Alicent.
Oh, right. Can I tell you, when she came on screen, I literally started to laugh out loud.
And there's all these butterflies taking off, and it's like Alicent knows what's happened. Which is
it's not just Alicent. It's Alicent in the woods with like some guys.
A bunch of guys. Where are all these guys come from? When she was planning on assassinating her son and brought one dude.
Yeah.
She secretly had like 10 guys outside. Why did they not all come and jump him?
No, she couldn't have. She just found guys. She went outside and she said, extra, I need some extras. And they filled in the background.
Because that was my thing. I was like, Alicent has soldiers apparently now. Like, who are these guys?
For a character that is so constantly the target of sex assault, she certainly is not concerned about being a woman alone on the road.
No.
Like,
well, she's not alone. She's got a whole retinue.
Guys. I laughed out loud and I said out loud to my television. I was sitting by myself in the dark watching this goddamn show. And I laughed and I said out loud to myself, to the television, I'm like, where is she?
Yeah, no, exactly. So insane.
Stupid.
So insane. And we cut back to Rhaenyra looking very unmoved by everything. Like, she's impassive, I guess would be the easiest way of like, this is something that would have, and I think, they were trying to do something in the fact that like, this is something that would have made her deeply sad like 2 episodes ago. And instead she just feels nothing.
Yeah, because she put on her badass eyeliner and that.
Right.
Now she has emotions,
and she looks down. We do see they show Helena like impaled on a spike, which that hasn't made it in show canon yet. The fact that there are spikes at the base of the Red Keep.
I would love to talk to. I should ask a normie about this and see if they understood that, because I thought that was very confusing. That we've never seen the spike pits around the Red Keep. There are spike pits around the Red Keep, but we've never seen them on the show.
Right.
So they just show like an open window, Rhaenyra looking down, and then they show this shot of Helena, but it's like upside down. It's like a weird.
Yeah.
But there's like and it kind of like spins, but there's a spike going through like her neck.
Yeah.
And the rest of her body seems intact, which that kind of fall it would not be. It would not be. It would be not. All over the place. I do think that was a situation where we probably needed another shot of Rhaenyra, of the actual shot of Rhaenyra looking out the window and looking and like seeing the spike pit from a distance. Like I think that would have been
interesting.
Yeah.
But we do get Rhaenyra like standing up and closing the window.
She closes the window.
What'd you make of that?
Significant. I think they really want it to be meaningful, and I really don't think it is. What did you make of it?
What do you think that it means?
I don't know. I think I texted you. I went into you were done with the episode, and I was like, what did you think of the last scene? And I was like, what about the window closing? And we're both just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Does it have meaning? Does it have meaning? I don't think so, because this is just a window. This is not a particular window. This is not a.
Yeah, there was a brief period of time where I was like, are they trying to do like a fake out of Rhaenyra is considering maybe I also should jump? And then
no, I didn't
like
get that. No.
so she like is out the window, but to close it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and she, but I wasn't sure if they were doing a like she's contemplating or is feeling like,
because it's not like she's like gonna close, like the next logical thing to do is to close the window. Like you have to close the window. That does have to happen. Somebody has to close the window, and then like you go get the body out of the moat and call it a day. So
the whole
they did put a kibosh, at least for now. There are some other events in King's Landing that occur that the Maester in the text says the impetus of those things are Helena's death.
Yeah.
And I don't know that timeline-wise it's going to work, but it could, because the show could do whatever the fuck it wants, because they only have 8 episodes to do everything else.
Did you? So the one last thing on Helena's demise is this was a big deal for George R.R. Martin, and by his own words, like a bit of the reason that he disconnected from.
Oh, really? I did not hear that. What did he say?
Well, his whole blog post when he did the like toxic butterflies, and I'm like, I don't like the little choices they're making in House of the Dragon season 3 because, and he talked about Maelor as like, the reason that Helena killed herself is because of Bitterbridge, and they're not going to do it because Maelor doesn't exist. So Helena's motivations for killing herself are very thin compared to her son being torn apart in front of her by a mob at Bitterbridge.
Right.
Like that is like a very specific reason. The show went with like vague, the weight of prophecy / like the weight of the tragedy / not being able to escape.
Yeah.
As like her impetus. Do you agree that it felt like unearned, or did you think that it was sufficient that like Helena killed herself for her circumstances?
That's a hard question because like I said, like analysis of the show is becoming like very difficult.
Yeah.
because the analysis requires accepting a lot of things that I like innately don't accept about like the way the show has unfolded. You know, I don't. So I guess the short answer is no. I don't feel that it was earned or really explained or justified. I guess maybe justified would be the right thing. I mean, I kind of liked Myssaria's like, she'll never let you escape. Like you and your child will always be prisoners. But that's also so obviously temporary because it only will apply during the war. Yeah. Like once the war is done, Helena is not going to be kept in that room for the rest of her life. Like, you know, and Rhaenyra hasn't done anything to indicate to Helena that she would be, you know.
Yeah.
Like she said to her, why won't you use your magical dragon visions to tell me where the armies are? And she said, if you won't eat a cheeseburger, I will make you eat a cheeseburger. Right. Those are the two things. That's they're not that evil. So
I will say I don't really understand Helena's decision to jump while pregnant.
With a child, she's expressed wanting. Right. So again, it'd be different if like we had talked last time about what if that was a pregnancy from a sexual assault from Aemond.
Right.
Like maybe if we were in a different circumstance, perhaps. But Helena has expressed wanting this child.
My quick rewrite to make this better. Now, it doesn't get to the George level of, yes, we all would prefer something that is more akin to what happens in the books because the story is compelling, and not that I want to see like a baby killed. That's like crazy. But my thing is, I think with a simple change, they could have really cooked with this, and it requires Alicent to actually force her to drink the moon tea.
Oh, interesting.
Because Helena not being pregnant anymore with this baby that she expressly wanted would have been, and maybe Alicent does it through some deception or whatever, like of, oh no, like you don't have to, like, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 actually does it because she's like trying to protect her. Helena realizes what's happened, like puts 2 and 2 together, right? That like she miscarries and it's because of Allison.
Yeah. And it could take her a few episodes to figure out that
Allison leaves for Harrenhal, and she's getting pushed by Rhaenyra, and then gets the whisper from Azaria of like, you're like, it doesn't matter, like you're never going to be free, whatever. And this despair of like, she's been betrayed by her, like she's imprisoned by her half sister. She is she's been betrayed by her mother, who is the one person that she like put her faith in. Because then when Helena kills herself, because what's going to happen is Allison's going to return to King's Landing and be like, this is all your fault, Rhaenyra.
Right.
And she's like, kind of right.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's nobody else's fault, right? Like it's not anybody else's fault. It's not really Rhaenyra's fault, but they're going to paint it that way. Where there could have been some really interesting guilt stuff and
with
like
man.
with Allison of like actually giving her some of the onus of like, part of this is like, you did this too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then both of them trying to grapple with the fact that someone that they actually did care about, like, wanted to be away from them so bad that she jumped out a fucking window.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
And now they just, and it's so funny because they dangled that.
They were so close to that. Yes.
And
yes, they were.
They just didn't do it because I think they want Allison to, like, for whatever reason, they're transitioning to this whole like, and I think it's, the writers seem to be doing this thing where they are favoring whichever side like feels worse, right? Where it's like, it's almost like when people watch sports and they don't have like a vested rooting interest, you'll like just start rooting for the team that's behind because like you want it to be a good game.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like writing the show, where it's like, oh, Team Black is in the lead. So like all of now we're like writing Team Green back into people's good graces, right? Because we want them to be more sympathetic and everything. Oh, you didn't see this coming, like that. You all thought that they were the good guys, and actually these are the good guys or whatever. And it's like, but they're not. Like nobody's like good. And in the interest of doing this, you're like, of making these characters sympathetic who previously were doing like these monstrous things, it's like you've just made them like inconsistent and bad characters, like not, and you've just made them less interesting. Like you haven't done anything like actually good.
Plus, I think that your characterization of Alicent is more accurate to her. That Alicent, I don't think Alicent would have really taken no for an answer from Helena in terms of the Moon Tea. I think she probably would have tried some of those silly escape attempts that they tried. You know, go through the walls, sneak out as a septa, you know, like that kind of crap.
Still crazy.
Just walk outside. You know, she probably would have tried some of those, and when they didn't work, she would have just said like, "I'm putting this shit in some soup," and she's drinking it.
Yeah,
and like totally. She would have. Actually, I think that's very consistent with Alicent and the way that she would be trying to genuinely do what she thinks is helpful to Helena, but simultaneously like taking Helena's agency away in the circumstance. So, oh man.
And I think that would have been like
really interesting.
And it would have provided more impetus for why Helena kills herself because
absolutely.
Yeah. With her being pregnant with a wanted pregnancy that she wanted to take care of the child. Like they just didn't do enough for her to think it was so hopeless that she couldn't have that baby. Right. Like to me, they didn't like do enough. And I think they should have.
And she also still had access to Jaehaera.
Right.
So
that's the other thing. Jaehaera is still.
But she has like a whole other child that she cares about because she's expressed like when they were trying to escape, she's like, and Jaehaera, what about Jaehaera? Like she cares about this kid. We see her scenes of her spending time with this child.
And she doesn't even get a scene. Man, they really could have made her death hit a lot harder if they had just given her a scene with Jaehaera before she kills herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of like, don't be scared or something like that. Like,
yeah,
that would have been fucking devastating. But but that's the thing is like, and the show has pulled the punches with a lot of these character deaths where they just haven't put the work in to make it feel like Helena is by far the most sympathetic character to have died, like in this show up to now, but I still didn't like it. Just didn't hit at the same.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think
it just didn't carry the emotional weight that I think it could have if they had done her. They needed a bit more of a personal reason for doing it. And I think, yeah, mom stuff would have been easy. And then like they needed to give her a scene with Jaehaera to really hammer home like she's.
Yeah. I like your screen fix too, because my fix for it would require like much overhaul. My headcanon version of this is that Helena's death and the God's Eye are happening at the same time.
That's actually how I've thought about it. I think they're presented close together in Fire and Blood. Like they don't happen that far apart.
It's possible. So in the Fire and Blood, it's possible they are simultaneous.
Right.
The symbolic reasoning for that being 3 dragons falling to Earth at once.
Right.
Is 3 heads has the dragon. Dragons are metaphorically comets. The moon cracked open and 1,000 dragons poured forth to Earth. There's like a lot of imagery, symbolism, and metaphor along those lines. And anytime you have a dragon falling from the sky, whether that's like a literal dragon or like a human associated with the dragons, there's like a metaphorical aspect to that. And completing the God's Eyes fall of the 2 there, who I will not name because I will not spoil it. But completing the fall of the dragons at the God's Eye with the 3rd dragon being Helena. Since the show introduced this idea that Helena has a magical connection potentially to other Targaryens and can port into their dreams, like that kind of, I had sort of imagined it as you ever seen the movie Anastasia, the animated movie Anastasia? Okay, there's a scene in Anastasia where the Princess Anastasia is on a boat and the evil Rasputin casts a spell on her so that she's sleepwalking and dreaming that it's like she's like with her family or whatever, but really he's trying to get her to jump overboard into like the sea and drown.
Right.
So I kind of imagined one way you could interpret Helena's fall is not that she jumped, but that she was in a vision with the other 2 Targaryens involved in the God's Eye and thinks she's doing something else, and in the process jumps and falls.
Right.
And you could do it that way if you wanted to make it magic.
Sure.
I prefer your version because I like a non-magic solution to things. But either way would be better than the nothing burger we got.
Yeah.
This. Yeah.
Yeah, it just
unfortunate.
Just didn't hit like I thought it might.
Yeah. Well, the God's Eye should have happened this season, and the God's Eye not happening is a real. That's a miss. That's a swing and a miss.
Huge miss, especially.
So that's going to be what, episode 2 of next season?
It's got to be it's got to be early in the season, unless they're just, I don't know.
But there are things that happen in King's Landing that will not make any sense if that many dragons are still around.
Right. And they also, speaking of the God's Eye, they still have not actually found Vhagar or explained what's going on with Vhagar.
Oh,
we made it out of the season with we're gonna go find Vhagar.
But there better be an explanation as to where she is. Otherwise, this is just lazy writing.
No, it would be so insane if at the beginning of season 4, there you are.
She's also in the Vale.
It's just like we didn't look in this room in Harrenhal.
No, there's another little girl riding her in the Vale. They're like, damn it, another Nettles over here. I mean, I can't even imagine where she is.
That's Dragonstone. Where would she possibly?
She was too big for Dragonstone. Vhagar didn't live there because she was too large.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Did she go back to Essos for a bit? Was she like, I'm going to go visit my home country. I'll be back.
I'm going to bring some bloodworms back.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
She said, whoa, the budget's getting out of hand. And she flew away.
You cannot afford my rates.
Yeah, I am far too expensive for you. So
yeah,
that's what happened.
And geez, so Pete, did it all happen?
So I have a broad question that I think I continue to grapple with in my pursuit of engaging with and studying media. Why am I so viscerally upset whenever there's a change from the source material? I imagine you too have that kind of emotional reaction whenever there's a change.
Yeah, I think, well, I will say I think I've gotten better about like I just now don't think of this as like having to do with the source material. Unfortunately, because they just decided not to adapt the source material they said they were adapting. But I think the reason that this particular source material is so annoying, like it's so annoying when there is a change, is for the reason, I think it's for the reason that you mentioned, which is like, why are you trying to do all this when the story is already laid out for you? Like they are trying so hard to like do all of this stuff, and it's like, you are overcomplicating this. And I think the problem with the, because there are people who will say like, oh, Fire and Blood is just like not adaptable, and it's just like it's not possible to make a good adaptation of the source material because it's an incomplete history and multiple viewpoints and all this stuff. But it doesn't require you to like examine the fact that there are multiple viewpoints. It requires you as the writer to have a viewpoint, like an actual viewpoint. Right?
Oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
You have to know what story George is trying to tell, and try to tell one that is in line with like, okay, I understand these things about the stories that George tells, which means these are the themes like of the, and what should this actual story be talking about? But this story doesn't have a unified viewpoint. Like it's so scattershot in what it's trying to say that it feels incoherent to somebody who's like, no, I get the themes of this story. Why aren't you doing stuff that like from the book that supports the themes? And so I think that's why we like naturally get upset about this sort of stuff, because it's like, especially when an adaptation fails to capture the spirit of the of the source material, like that's when it's real bad. And I think unfortunately like we are in that territory with House of the Dragon now.
Yes. I really, you kind of answered my question. I've been thinking about that all day, and you came up with an answer. Thank you. That was easy. This is why I come to this podcast, because I learn things. Yeah, I really like that the adaptational changes that do bother me are the ones that fail to capture the spirit of the source material, as you say, because there are adaptational changes I liked. I mean, I would praise the High Heavens in season 1 for just like making Rhaenyra and Alicent the same age. I was like, what an interesting, more complex version of this story to do it this way. So it's not that like you can't make any changes. I think it is about, getting to the point of the story. This is why I very much worry about them sticking the landing, because I don't know that they understand the point of the dance specifically.
Right.
And I don't know, and I've said this on other podcasts before, I don't know that the story of the dance is complete without the story of Daenerys Targaryen. So
yeah, I mean, well, and especially the story that they decided to tell, like the prophecy aspect of it means that it like literally isn't.
And we don't, and those books aren't done yet, right? So we like, for me, it's hard even textually in the books to judge the impact and the meaning and the depth of the dance without knowing what ends up happening with Daenerys ultimately.
Sure.
So And I think one of the things that really gets under my skin about these particular Game of Thrones shows is like there are adaptational changes that have to be made because of like physical constraints in terms of filming, things like that. Absolutely, ages of children, numbers of actors, like characters needing to be cut. Certainly, I understand that there are physical budgetary restraints.
Yeah.
But I feel that most of the changes are things that the HBO writers make because they think they're better.
Mm-hmm.
They think, well, the book says this, but our better idea is this.
Right.
And I find it very disrespectful to the source material to think you as a screenwriter, particularly for this source material,
right,
that is so dense.
Yeah.
To think for a minute that you as a screenwriter can do better.
Right.
And there are changes that they made that they had to make because of constraints. There are some changes that they made that are interesting and are, I think, more interesting than the books. Those are few and far between. I can count those on one hand.
Right.
The vast majority of the changes strike me as egotistical.
Right.
You know, you're expecting this thing because you're a book reader and you read the books, but we're going to do this other thing that makes no fucking sense. Mm-hmm. But you're going to be so shocked by it.
Right.
We're going to send Alicent to Harrenhal to try to poison her son, who's going to be saved by the immortal widow of Harren the Black. That happened in this show. That whole sequence happened in this television show. Happened. You know, like it's stuff like that. Like they do. Where, you know, we're going to have the Tyroshi fleet come and attack because they actually really want to kill Corlys. And Jace is going to die because a sheep stealer flies nearby and then he flies too low and then he dies. After locking his mom in her bedroom. After locking his mom, the queen, the sovereign, in her bedroom.
Right.
And no one will let her out.
Right.
That's like that really happened.
Yeah.
They think it's a better adaptation.
Right.
And we know that because if it wasn't, they should just tell us the truth. Like, for example, if they had to change the gullet, if they just came out and said, we could not animate 5 dragons at this battle, but we could animate 2, or 3. So this is what we picked 3.
Right.
Fine. But they don't say that. They come out and they talk about how great their farts smell, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And are they lying? I don't know. I don't trust HBO, so I imagine they lie to us quite a bit. But I think that's like my main thing is when it feels like they think their version is better than the source material.
Yeah.
I'm like, then if you think that, then you are not the appropriate party to be writing the script.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, when you lose the author from your show because they're unhappy with your decisions, you should rethink those decisions.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And being like, well, what is he, you know?
Right. And they blame him for stuff. And it's like, you have to read the book more than one time. Mm-hmm. Read it once and then do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
You know, talk to a nerd, one of us.
There's so many. Nerd.
We'll talk to you forever about it. We'll talk to you for 3.5 hours about it.
Right. I think, that was season 3 of House of the Dragon.
Do you want to briefly do any predictions for season 4? I think we definitely get God's Eye. I think we get a truncated moon of the 3 kings. We get like Rabble Rabble and King's Landing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we get Templeton too, because Aegon and Aemond are allegedly on their way to Templeton with dragons. So maybe we get a semblance of Templeton too. I'm sure those dragon eggs at Harrenhal will never be seen again.
Yeah. No, that's nothing.
Yeah. And I worry that we're not going to get very much of the Valyrians at all next season.
I mean, it seemed like they were trying to set up Alan and Adam stuff, but I just don't know what Adam's going to do, because like, I just don't understand where they're going to go when the whole point is they do stuff, and fair or not, like Rhaenyra starts to think that it's treason, like that what they're doing is treason.
Potentially. There's so the what's told by the Maester is that Adam does something treasonous, or she suspects him of treason, but that's one of those things that I don't think is actually accurate given what happens. But that's a potential spoiler for next season.
And that's what, like, so is she gonna imprison Corlys with him just returning from being imprisoned, like being kidnapped? There's just a lot of I think, gosh, I just don't know like how they can do what they need to do to tell like something that resembles a coherent narrative, because
the biggest, go ahead, sorry.
Well, just because there's no time to do like the big events, like the set pieces or whatever, because you would just have to do like 1 or 2 an episode. And they're just not gonna do that. Like there's just no way like that they can do that.
I think the big problem is like there's no like the finale of the dance is now not possible because they brought Aegon back onto the board much sooner. So, but I always thought they would change that. But I'm wondering now if there's going to be like a battle of some kind, like a dragon battle with like many dragons doing dragon battle, as opposed to these sort of separate. There better be the goddamn God's Eye though, man. If they don't do the God's Eye, I riot.
Oh, honestly, like that is one where if it is not shot for shot what is in the books, like then it's just, that's it. Like I've literally been waiting to see that.
Yeah, for like 84 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to make any predictions just because like I'd have told you that they needed to minimum get to the God's Eye in this season for them to have any shot at getting to somewhere satisfying by the end of season 4. And now we didn't even make it, like we didn't even get a full Tumbleton.
We did it. what did we call it in chat? 2 tumble 2 ton?
2 tumble 2 ton. It's just I just don't understand. Like,
I'm gonna predict just wild predictions. God's Eye is included, and it's gonna be episode 4.
Yeah.
It'll be episode 4-ish.
Halfway through the season, like,
and we're gonna just twiddle our thumbs until then.
We're just gonna, Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but luckily we have a good show to watch that'll come out next year, I think 27. Like second season beginning of 27, I assume. Second similar
season timing. Of the second season of the currently good Dragon Show.
Yeah,
the good night show. Yeah. And we'll be continuing our read. We were like what, a quarter, maybe a third of the way into the second novella, The Sworn Sword. Fascinating book. Absolutely fascinating. So you guys should definitely check that out.
And we'll be able to jump back in. This is timely given that we'll probably be able to finish before the Seven Kingdoms season 2 comes out.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So it'll be good to dive in and then then we can criticize Ira for his adaptation changes.
Look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again.
Fool me 3 times.
Do you remember George W. Bush? He said that one
time.
Yeah.
Yep.
HBO has done this where they start a show strong and fuck it up now 3 times. Game of Thrones, The Last of Us, House of the Dragon. It's gonna happen to Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We might get a good second season.
I hope. If they fuck up the Mystery Night, I'm gonna lose it, because like Sworn Sword I love, but the Mystery Night is just
that's the 3rd season. We start to struggle against the reins at the 3rd season.
One thing I will say is it's a shame that we're not getting is it Unwin Peak?
Yes, Unwin. His name is Unwin.
It's a shame we're not getting Unwin Peak because of the appearance of House Peak in the Mystery Night. Because it would have been nice to be introduced to a Peak in House of the Dragon and be like, I fucking hate this guy. And then you get introduced to a Peak in the Mystery Night and you're like, I fucking hate this guy. Anyways. Yeah. So so we'll have all of that. So stay tuned. And thanks everybody for hanging out.
Yes, thank you all for joining us for a brief little 3.5 hour podcast about this hour-long television show. I'm sure that the discourse on the TikTok will continue.
It sure will.
And I have not made a TikTok in quite a while because I've just been busy with, unfortunately, the real big girl job I have.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, I know, it's really truly awful. But I have been tempted because I've been watching this and I'm like gripping my keyboard. I'm like, oh my God, I have thoughts. This is the one thing I know about. I have one hyperfixation and it is this. So perhaps I'm considering because I think I am going to rewatch the season, and I kind of want to look at the story by character arc as opposed to by episode.
That'd be interesting.
And see, like, if you just go through and just watch like the Allison scenes, for example, does it make any more sense if you watch them cohesively? That's something we used to do on Unabashed Books Novery, is watch by plot line. So I may or may not do that. If I did, I would post it on my TikTok at Block on TikTok. And where are you on TikTok?
Damon Bachfire. So check me out. Yeah, I'm talking a lot. I have been making videos about House of the Dragon. I also do some jokey stuff about Song of Ice and Fire. And yeah,
I get my news.
Yeah, exactly.
I get all my news through your joke videos.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you guys for hanging out. And we'll catch you next time talking about the Sworn Sword, probably.
Yeah, we're no longer going, we're free. We're not going to be menaced for at least 2 more years. We're not going to be menaced by Ryan Condal and Sarah Hess. I hope that their pillows are always warm.
Yes. Well, yeah. Have a good night, everybody, and tumble on ton or whatever.
What did we say? Oops, all Tumbletons.
Oops, all Tumbleton.
Oops, all Tumbletons. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.